Well, welcome to the Penguin Football Ground, 16th of August 1997 for the Northwest Christian Amateur Football League Grand Final. And this match is to be played between Brooklyn Tigers, who have finished on top of the ladder, and Central Coast Swans. And we see the Swans out in the field at the moment. That's obviously a ploy, a tactic. Get out there early, get a feel of the ground, feel of the conditions. So, yeah, they're already out there nice and early, 5 or 10 minutes early. And so we're looking for a good day today, a little bit of a westerly breeze, south-westerly by the feel of it. And we're looking forward to a really great grand final. This one I expect to be very close. And very shortly we should see the Brooklyn Tigers run out in the field, led by their captain coach Adrian Best. We see the Tigers cheer squad out there, and it's great to see that. I don't know whether the Swans have got one. Looks as though they're going to move some sort of banner or of some description over there very shortly. And you can probably hear the noises underneath the grandstand at the moment as the Tigers prepare to run out in the field. As they come out in the field now, you see Adrian Best leading them out, followed by the captain, Matty Cashman. And they're already fired up. They've only lost one game this season. And they'll be hard to beat on this ground in dry conditions. We've had a bit of rain during the week, and the ground's a little bit soft, but no, this should be a great grand final, as we see Tony Stewart run out last through the banner. And as they assemble there at both ends of the field, both teams, some with tracksuits on, some not. In fact, both teams are, for this year's grand final, playing 22, as has been through the last half of this season. And so the Tigers have just come out of their mascot, running off the field at the moment. Barry Ingram, the runner, he's going over to join them. Whilst at the other end we see Swans lining up for a photograph at the moment. So we're all in readiness very shortly for the first bounce of this grand final in the Northwest Christian Amateur Football League. The umpires for this game, central umpires, let's have a look. Yes, we've got central umpires Bob Ferguson doing his final year, and Ray Masters is the other umpire. Ray has come in for this the grand final, and we're looking forward to a pretty good exhibition of umpiring today as well, because obviously we can't ignore the umpiring. It's a very important part of the game. Goal umpires Dale Highland. I can't quite see the other umpire at this stage. Boundary umpires, we've got Tracy. Mick Fleming is the other. I've just been told Mick Fleming is the other goal umpire. And I can't quite see who the boundary umpires are at this stage. But as we speak, there's a little bit of a crowd coming into the ground at the moment. And we should expect by the first bounce a reasonable crowd here for this grand final. So we're not far away from the first bounce. And they'll all assemble out there for the toss. I don't think there's much of a breeze favouring either end today. It's a fairly swirly sort of wind out there in the middle today. And I don't expect it will be a great advantage at either end of the ground. And so Adrian Best, or in fact Matty Cashman, will be the person as captain, no doubt, to toss the coin with the opposition captain. And I think it could be, yes, I think it's Nathan Smith. So the umpire's in position, the players about to line up. And this is the 11th grand final in the Northwest Christian Amateur Football League, of which Brooklyn have won 4 grand finals. In fact, they're going for 3 in a row, and Central Coast, they're going for their first grand final win. So we'll hand over to the speaker out in the middle at the moment. Yes, well, Paul Leekman has just started proceedings out in the middle. He's the president of the league this year, and yes, Paul's just getting players in readiness there for the start of the grand final. And just at this point, I'd like to welcome Jim Kelly to the microphone. Jim is going to be a co-commentator today, and Jim, you looking forward to a good game?
Oh yes, Bevan. I think this is going to be a very exciting game today. The Tigers have seemed to always been in the finals over the last few years, and it's good to see a newish team coming in, the Central Coast Swans. They just lost to the Tigers some 3 years back, but they'll be very keen to atone for that, and I really look forward to a good game, and I actually think the Swans might just get there today. So we now just look like we're going to pass over to Russell Shewan, who is the league chaplain, who is going to have the opening prayer before the match.
Yes, thanks, Jim. And in fact, as far as tips go, I'm actually tipping Swans too. I think that in dry conditions, I think that it's tailor-made for them. If it was wet today, which was looking fairly likely at one stage, I would have probably gone for the Brooklyn Tigers. But I think the Swans will be keen to avenge 1995, where they narrowly went down and to the same team. And yeah, I just think that they'll be really pumped. I was in the sheds before the game, and they were really fired up. And the Tigers were as well, but I just sensed that the Swans were really pumped in the sheds, just that little bit more than Brooklyn, and I don't know if that means anything, but it could be enough to sway the game.
Oh yes, I also ventured into both change rooms, and the Swans were extremely fired up. In fact, we had great difficulty even getting through the door. They were that fired up, and I really think that's I think where it'll be won and lost to be definitely in the centre, where the Swans have an advantage in the ruck with young Simic and young Hagerman, and I think their leap is just going to be too much for the Tiger ruckman. And they'll give the Swans first touch of the ball, and they've got, of course, the sensational forward in Burke, Travis Burke, who only needs one goal today to make 50 for the season. And I think really the tap out, the in the centre, and then straight down to the full forward, I think they've just got too many guns really for the Tigers.
Yeah, just looking at their lineups, Jim. Yeah, just I know as Hobbs is missing today. There's going to be a big loss. So is Donny Zylstra for the Tigers. And looking at the Swans lineup, having played both teams the last 2 weeks, I really feel that, as you've just said, Hagerman and also Simic in the ruck really could hold the key in a small ground like this. If you get it out of the middle quickly, it's only one kick into the full forward line. And I was really impressed with their ruckman last week, whereas the previous week I thought the Brooklyn Tigers ruckman just struggled a little bit. And I think it could be one out of the middle, which a lot of games are. Yeah, I just think that Tigers will need to hold those two. And we're in readiness for the bounce of the 1997 Grand Final, as Ray Masters is about to bounce the ball. Looks like Runciman in the ruck up against Hagerman. In fact, the Tigers ruckman wins the first tap. Barber's got the ball out there, out in the wing. There's just looks like short across the other side. Rogers, Hubbard's got the ball. It's near the boundary line, and yes, in fact, it's out of bounds. Well, Jim, it's a fairly normal start to a grand final. There's no rough stuff, no rough tactics early on. It looks as though it's going to settle into a pretty good game.
Oh yes, so I think there's one match-up we're going to have to look carefully at. Dwayne Cashman for the Tigers and Paul Barber for the Swans had a little bit off the ball there before the ball was bounced, and I think we need to watch that carefully. As here we see McMichael now kicking into the forward line, and again it's Paul Barber now. He's about to break clear. Handballs across his teammate, gets it back again, and he just kicks out here to the near side. And it's just a race now. Matty Cashman for the Tigers and Nathan Smith for the Swans. That's Matty Cashman now, turns onto his right boot, kicks it into the centre half forward region, but it's all Swans in there. And Hagerman now, the tall ruckman, just breaks clear and kicks forward on his left boot. It's their forward line. Oh, two Tigers there, no talking, and it looks like they're going to clear it though. Paul Devine kicks it out to the centre, to the wing, and the Tigers go forward again. This looks like Dilger over there. And he's just got tackled, managed to get rid of it. And the ball once again goes out just forward of the centre wing there, going towards the Tigers' end.
Yes, the Swans going to the right of the screen, Tigers going to the left, and seems to be a little bit of a wind advantage, Jim, for the Tigers, and for the Swans, I should say, and as you'd expect in a grand final, a little bit scrappy to begin with. But out there at the moment, it's anyone's ball. In fact, could be out of bounds. No, they've kept in play, and it's fairly scrappy, as I said. Umpire will soon have to bounce it. In fact, he will bounce it right now. What do you think, Jim? A little bit of a win advantage for the Swans?
Oh yes, I think only marginally, probably a goal advantage, but the wind is virtually going straight across the ground, and that's probably why, as you can see now, the ball is sort of dominating. The player's dominating on the far side. That's where the wind is sort of going towards. And this looks like Simic now, who kicks into the centre, and he's picked out his young little rover in Paul Barber, who has done an Academy Award, give him 9.5 for the dive. And he gets up straight away ready to take his kick. It's a long kick on his left boot, kicks into the centre half forward region. Oh, Cullen looked like he had his name over it. Blake gets it, handballs forward. And again, it looks like Matty Cashman, the captain of the Tigers, who paddles the ball in front of him, looking for the boundary. Handballs to himself, that's one way to build up your stats. And kicks it back into the centre. And he's found, it looks like McMichael, who plays on.
Tony Stewart, Michael. Yes, McMichael took that previous kick, but the ball has been transferred, it's been taken by the Swans, and Wings got it in the middle. Dual best and fairest, shared the best and fairest this year. He kicked straight to, looks like Devine down there, centre half back for the Tigers. He could be a key player today. Devine, looks like he's going to kick long. No, he goes around the man on the mark. Kicks out wide. Best is there, battling hard. Looks like it could be another, no, it could be a ball up. No, the ball is, yes, it's going to be a ball up there at the moment. So Masters bounces the ball. Up goes Hagman. Who's got the ball? It's Dwayne Cashman. Simic gets the ball now. He's had a great season, young Simic. Kicks the ball long into the Swans forward line, but Matty Cashman's there. No, he spills the mark. Should have taken that mark. Runciman kicked the ball out off the ground. Back there to Hagman. But that ball's dropped again by Devine. He's too slow. Lucky to get away with that. Tigers knocked the ball forward. It's out near the wing. Adrian Best gets the ball. He's bundled over. There's a fair bit of pressure out there at the moment. Best in there hard again. He'll bury in all day. But the umpire is going to take the ball again for another bounce up. So it's a little bit of a scrappy opening. This is probably about the 5th bounce up, so it's a lot of bounces for the first part of the match. So they go in there, the rucks battle it. Adrian Best gets the ball on his left foot. Goes forward, it's anyone's ball. Awkward bounce. Jason Sutton. Oh, taken high. The umpire didn't see that. The Swans get the ball near the boundary line. Anyone's ball and it's out of bounds, or could even be a ball up. Looks as though the umpire is going to ball it up. So there's no score yet here at the Penguin Oval. As young Hagman goes in against Runciman. Short's there with the ball, maybe. No, he hasn't got it. Tony Stewart's battling hard. Short, Craig Short. Could have been pushed, not given. Wing's got the ball. It's very scrappy here at the moment. Wing's got another opportunity. Great play by Grant Wing. Gets it out there. Both players said leave it and no one took the ball. Tony Stewart there under a bit of pressure. Oh, he could be holding the ball. The umpire lets it go though. Broadrib there. He's about to grab the footy. He's tackled as well. Great pressure in this grand final. Dwayne Cashman's under pressure. Could be a free kick to Cashman though. Too high on that player. So Dwayne Cashman, a welcome addition, gets the ball.
Okay, we're just waiting for the ball to come back now. Young Wood there gives the ball back to Cashman. And we'll wait for the play to get underway again. Cashman looks forward. He's looking for his brother out there on the wing. No, and he's found Hubbard. It looks like Hubbard's taken the mark just forward of centre. He plays on to the forward line. It's Del Pero, the big full forward, comes out and he marks right on the 40-metre semicircle. I think that's kicking straight into the wind there. I think that's definitely too far out.
He's going to be an important player today, Jim.
Oh, yes, certainly his height is just going to be a very key factor. The Swans don't seem to have anyone tall enough to match up against him in the back line. Del Pero looking for a lead. McLaren led, and he's gone to him, and that's a great lead, and a good mark, and a good pass. Again, this is really going to be quite a difficult kick. He's going to have to aim probably to the left goal post and let the breeze bring it back in, back round to the right so it goes through. Paul Smith there has gone back on the mark a bit. I don't know whether McLaren's seen it. It comes through. It's got well off the boot. Looks good. And that's the first goal in the grand final to Andrew McLaren for the Tigers.
He's had a quiet season, but he always seems to play well in the finals, Jim. So
yeah, well, he is the lead goal-kicking record holder. He played for many years for the Boat Harbour Blues before coming to the Tigers. And that's the first goal. The Tigers lead 1 goal, 6 points to the Swans, who are yet to score.
Well, McLaren's going to be a very important player with Hobbs and Zilster out of the side today, and I think the Tigers will be earmarking him for 4 or 5, and Jason Sutton, I know, is the centre-half forward, and of course John Del Pero is going to be very important in the full forward line. So that's an important goal, that first one, because a little bit of a breeze advantage, probably just favouring the Swans in, maybe. It's hard to say, but it's a bit of a swirly breeze. Bounce to the ball in the middle. Wing gets the ball again. He's already had a couple of touches. Gets the ball out wide on the wing. Ashley Jubb's out there. He's putting pressure on the Tiger player, on Dilger. Ashley Jubb gets the ball again. No, he gives it up. It's anyone's ball at the moment. Dilger gives over to Short. But Simic's in the way there. Good mark by Simic, but he kicks it to the Tiger player. Matty Cashman drops his second chest mark. But he kicks it out wide, he recovers. Looks like young, is it Hageman? Young Perry, rather. But Cullen beats him to the ball. Cullen for the Tigers, good handball. But the player's under pressure, Hubbard, but the ball's knocked out of bounds. So we've got a throw in on the other outer side of the ground. In fact, it's a free kick. Free kick to Swans. The umpire, the players aren't aware, but looks like Simic has got the ball. Number 49 for the Central Coast Swans. Had a great season. Pius Senton's lead is ignored, but he goes long instead. Looking for wing. Travis Burke. Oh, almost paid that one. Burke, the league's leading goal kicker this season, just missed that mark. Stewart gets the ball on the half-back line, kicks it up towards the wing, but Jason Sutton carries it over the boundary line.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactical move. The Tigers seem to be playing a dual full forwards with McLaren and Del Piero taking turns leading from the forward line. That's going to be a hard tactic for the Swans to try and match up on. I think the Swans are falling into a trap of playing the dead side of the ground. The Breeze is just forcing the ball that way, and they're just having great difficulty being able to get the ball into their forward line with any system. The ball comes in the Tigers' forward line. That's Bestie, kicks it out, and he finds his teammate, and he kicks it. It might have been Dilger, but the pass to McLaren has been chipped off by Brett Johnson was the one who kicked it in the forward line. This is Paul Smith now, and he kicks it back again to that dead pocket, and that's a real problem because they just can't get into their forward line from over there. And that's Perry again with Hubbard, and the ball's gone out of bounds.
Yes, while they play that side of the ground, Jim, it's going to be a pretty scrappy affair, and that's the way it's panned out at this moment, at this stage of the game.
And we wait for young Chasey Hargraves to throw the ball back in. Again, it's Hageman and Runciman. Runciman was favoured by that throw, and young McMichael there is leading for the ball, and he gets the free kick. He was held before he picked the ball up, and umpire Ferguson, who was a little bit away from the play there, gave the free kick. And McMichael, it's a good kick, but you can see the Breeze really holding that up. In fact, the Breeze has just pushed that straight out of bounds, and that's a very disappointing result. And that looks like Paul Webb here, the centre half back for the Swans. He will bring the ball back into play. They've really got to start switching the play. I think they're a bit cautious about making any mistakes, and they're playing it cautiously down that side of the ground. That was again Paul Devine with a big fly, and again it's a real scrappy affair, and the ball's gone out of bounds for yet another throw in.
Players finding it hard to take marks today, Jim. It must be pretty swirly out there. It's pretty hard to tell from the grandstand, but it looks as though marking's not an easy prospect.
Yes, and the tap out goes to McMichael again. This is a better kick back towards the centre a little bit. And that looks like Hubbard. That's a very, very good play. Great bump on him too. Young Ashley Job gets it out to Nathan Smith on his non-preferred right, and Piacenton's got a couple of yards on his opponent, Tony Stewart has got back on him again. That's Phillips. They're the big Swans guy, and he gets the free kick. That was a bit crude by the Tiger defenders, and big Phillips, number 20 for the Swans, has a chance to put them right into the attacking line.
He could be an important player today, Phillips. He's a big fellow, and he could be a useful target centre half forward, and he's in fact going to line up. So interesting to see if he makes a distance here. If he can make the distance, that could be the scoring in. So Phillips on the outer side, half forward flank. Long shot at goal. It looks fairly close. It could even be there. It's a great kick from there, and it's a goal. Great goal by Phillips. So that's the very important answer for the Swans. And so the score at the moment, 1 goal apiece. And I agree with Jim. I just think they need to probably transfer the play onto this side of the ground, though. Even though they got that goal out there, I think that they would find scoring a lot easier at this side of the ground. And be interested to see if either coach has had, if that was their tactic to play that side of the ground. I think if there was Tigers, that would be a good tactic. As Bob Ferguson comes into to bounce the ball now, we see Dwayne Cashman, Simon Wood in there in the middle, Craig Short, and also McMichael for the Tigers. But Hageman gets the tap there, or it's fairly even, but Simic playing like a ruck rover, he's out there, but Dwayne Cashman beats him. Great play, Dwayne Cashman, but that's holding the ball. He went too far. That's a good decision, and I know Dwayne Cashman's limping a little bit, so let's hope he's okay. But that was a good answer, good tackle there by young Simic. So yeah, Cashman's still limping as Simic passes off. Wing spills the mark, so under pressure now. They put themselves under pressure here, Swans. There's Matty Cashman, number 11 for the Tigers. He runs out of bounds. Yeah, so they're still playing that side of the ground, Jim. I don't know whether the wind is pushing the ball out there. It seems to be a little bit pushing the ball out that side of the ground, but...
Yes, I was kind of wondering that the Swans, as the challengers this year, are just playing a very conservative first quarter. They probably don't want to take the risk and let the Tigers jump away from them. But the Tigers try to go forward again, but Simon Wood there gets in the road, the number 5 for the Swans.
That's 29's number, Chris Croden.
Croden there dived in, the big fella there, centre half back, and it's going to be another ball up. Bestie, as always, is the last guy to come out, to pick himself off from the bottom of the pack. Umpire Masters will bounce it again.
Dwayne Cashman's coming off by the look of it.
Yes, Dwayne Cashman is definitely limping, and he's going to be replaced by the old stager Brian Cameron, who just seems to get better with age. And Devine, a great mark in the centre of the ground, and he wants to get going, but Nathan Smith's held him up quite well there, quite legally. He's gone round the mark, and Phillips nearly grabbed him, but Devine kicks it out well. He's sort of kicked for touch there, using a rugby expression, and it's out of bounds. And again, we wait for young Tracy now to get the ball to throw it back in. But it's interesting now that Dwayne Cashman, who's been out for the last couple of weeks, has been very keen to play today, and he's definitely favouring a leg, and we just wonder how serious that is. At quarter-time roundup, we'll just have to go and just check on that to make sure it's not serious. There's Grant Wing again, playing for the free kick. In fact, he may have been hurt there.
That's Brett Johnson there. He got the ball out there for the Tigers.
And it's kicking in danger, gone against McMichael by the looks of it, and Simic has picked up another kick.
He's probably been the best player at the moment. The team, Simic, I think.
Yes, I agree with that. He's definitely lined up as a ruck rover this quarter, but the ball's got to come back. He wasn't over his mark, and the umpire has asked him to go back around to behind the mark, and we get play restarted again. Looks like they're trying to switch this time, and it's gone over. I think that's young Perkins. Oh, and that was not necessary.
Could have been 50.
In fact, it's no, he's just brought Bestie back on the mark. It could have easily been 50 there, but Perkins forward. Hageman sort of marked that on his head, and he plays onto his left. That's a good kick too, but it's an interesting way Cullen's playing Burke. He's playing him in front. Burke taps it down. Piasterden on his left, and he puts it through.
Great play by Travis Burke. He knocked that ball out to Pye Senton, and obviously that could be a tactic up there to knock the ball on at all costs.
Oh, certainly. I think these two have teamed together very well this year, and Piasterden's had a quiet season, but the last couple of weeks in the finals, he's really picked up his form. Cullen there is not impressed. He felt he was pushed. But the score's on the board, and that's all that matters. Swans now got 2 goals, and the Tigers are on 1 goal. And perhaps that's probably a fair indication of the breeze. I think it's only about a 1 or 2 goal breeze, and so really honours are quite even here in the first quarter.
That was a fairly vital goal because they haven't been in the forward line too often, Jim, and when they've got down there, they look a little bit more dangerous to me than the Tigers in their forward line. And the Tigers... I think they're in a little bit of trouble even at this stage. I think the Swans have just settled a little bit at the moment, and here we go again. It's Simic gets it out of the middle, and he's been an important player this early in the game. Kicks the ball over the pack though, but Cullen's down there. He's under pressure. Travis Burke knocks it back into play. Who's got the ball? Wood. He's under heaps of pressure from 4 Tiger players. Craig Short gets the ball, kicks it long. Brian Cameron has just come on the field, takes the mark. He's settling things down at the moment. No doubt the Tigers want to answer pretty quickly here. Sutton goes up for the Tigers, punched away by Webb. Tigers players barging through. They've knocked it out. Oh, great play. Brett Johnson gets the ball. Del Perro's got the set and takes the mark. He's very tall, Del Perro, and I really think he's the key to the game for the Tigers. If they can get it down up high to him, he's going to mark it more times than he's not. And so yeah, very important player. And that was a fairly fortunate exchange. The ball knocked out to the back of the pack and Johnson kicked the ball to Del Perro. So Del Perro lining up close to the man on the mark, but looks pretty good to me. I think it might be a goal. In fact, it is. So we've got 2 straight to both teams. McLaren 1, Del Perro 1 for the Tigers, whereas for the Central Coast, Pye Senton 1 and Phillips 1.
Yes, and it's rather interesting now that Dwayne Cashman seems to be quite ready to come back on again. He went for a bit of a run to test the leg out. He's given his dad the okay, the dad the ever-caring trainer. And it's quite interesting with such a strong cross breeze that both teams have kicked accurately with 2 goals apiece. But I do believe that with Del Perro, he's got to get in front. Russell's doing the right thing, playing in front. But Del Perro, it was just the height there that was the difference.
I know it's Wayne Clark, the stats man's down the front here near the Tigers bench, and he's no doubt very keen for the Tigers to do well today.
Yes, he's definitely the Christian League's Eddie Maguire as far as stats go. And Woody gets the ball out for the Swans. Barber there. The tall number 18 for the Tigers. Can't make him out.
I think
it's no, that's Rogers. Rogers there, and he kicks it out to Sutton. Sutton plays on with that awkward kicking style. He's been taking lessons from Andrew Dunkley, and that is a great mark there from Russell, number 48 for the Swans. Playing in front again of Del Pero.
But that's not a very good kick, though.
No.
Trouble there.
But Perkins did very well. He got tackled a little crudely there. Once again, Rogers gets the ball, kicks it out, and this dual full forward system's working very well. Andrew McLaren's taken a great mark. A good lead, and this will be interesting. It's the first shot for goal they've had from this pocket, and I imagine it's going to be quite a severe bend on this ball as he kicks it towards goal.
Tigers showing one of their strengths there, Jim. I believe their tackling is one of the reasons on top of the ladder. They're probably the best tackling side in the comp, and that was a great tackle down there on the wing.
Oh, and that's a very good, well-judged kick for goal there by McLaren, and the Tigers hit the lead again. And the lead changes once more. That's their third goal. The Tigers 3 goals straight, 18 points. Lead the Central Coast 2 goals straight, 12.
Yes, Landry McLaren looks as if he's in for a good day. It's his second he's kicked, and that spells trouble for the Swans backline. They'll need to tighten up on him. Maybe this ground, he likes this ground, I don't know, Jim, but I notice it could be a changes there. No, Russell's on to McLaren, is he, or not? Yeah, they might have changed it. No, they're back to their original positions. Russell on Del Pero and Smith on McLaren.
It's obviously a concern, though, the runner having gone out there to deliver some messages, so it's a major concern. I think the Tigers also got a mismatch in the forward line here with Bestie.
And the ball's moved back into the Tigers forward line, but Webb, under a bit of pressure, doesn't take the mark. Best has got the ball. Adrian Best, their captain coach, gets the ball, scrambles it down there. McLaren's there, ever dangerous. Kicks the ball off the ground, didn't quite connect. Tigers in the packs there. Swans battle it through for a point through Webb. Good play by Webb. He had to stand up there and be counted, and he did. Yeah,
it's another interesting matchup. Bestie, the quick rover for the Tigers, is actually being picked up at the moment by the tall and Croden for the Swans.
It's not a good matchup, is it, Jim?
No, I think Bestie has just got too much experience and too much speed, and he should run Croden quite ragged before the game's out. And Russell kicks out to the far side, and it looks like young Perry's got the run on there. They want that ball to be touched before it goes out, and it has been. And the ball will be thrown in again, just forward of the Tigers, to the Tigers' end from the centre wing area.
The score is Tigers 3 goals 1 to Central Coast 2 straight, and so we're about halfway through the first quarter as the umpire throws the ball in.
Yes, and it's again Runciman's got the tap out. He's doing extremely well against the dual peaks of the Central Coast, and the ball goes forward again. Sutton's taken a great mark in front of Webb. That's going to be a key duel. Sutton tends to always play on people that little few inches taller than him, and he's doing very well so far. Again, this awkward kick in action. That's gone very high. The breeze is holding it up. It's a fair bit of pushing and shoving, and Croden actually gets the ball and clears it out to the near side. The ball hasn't been here very long, and Broadriver, who's about to be taken off by the runner, is out there on his own, picks up the ball and kicks it in towards Del Pero, who again fades for the free kick. And Rogers is in there for the Tigers, and it looks like Stack's on the mill. It's going to be a ball up. Umpire Bob Ferguson, who's actually umpiring his final game in his career, a 10-year career with the Christian League, and he throws the ball up. Simic gets the tap again. That's a good move, him going into the ruck, I think. Matthew Cashman, big punch forward. Again, McLaren in front. Probably should have marked that. And it's been tapped through by Russell. Geez, he only just got enough fist on that. And that's the first point on the board for either side. The Tigers...
McLaren was ready to pounce there, Jim, wasn't he? I thought he was ready to get a boot.
Yes, I thought he might have got there. So it's the Tigers 3 goals, 1, 19 to Central Coast, 2 straight, 12.
And as Adam Broadriver's come off the ground, that was a great kick out there. And in fact, the Tigers now lead by 8 points, 3 goals, 2 to 2 straight, as it's battled out there on that defensive wing. Looks like Perry out there. Barber's got the ball, number 9. He hasn't had many touches today so far, but in comes short number 9 for Brooklyn Tigers. He kicks. Barber might... No, it's Webb has taken the mark. Number 2, the solid centre-half back for the Central Coast. Bit of an unsung hero on this side this year, Webb, as he clears the ball with that long raking left kick. Down there, Matty Cashman, wings there. Ball could be out of bounds. Perry's got the ball. In fact, it's out of bounds at the moment.
Exactly, Webb got a bit of recognition this year. He's been named centre-half back in the All-Star team. And that's really does show that he does his work quietly, but he is a very effective player in the back line of the Swans. The ball's thrown in on the wing again. Runciman taps it out. It looks like McMichael's got the ball now. Puts it out in front of him. Perry for the Swans is there. That looks like Mark Blake, but the ball's out of bounds again. It really has dominated play on that side of the ground, and it's been a real scrappy affair. Both teams will be looking to transfer play to this side just to try and open it up. Runciman and Simic. Simic maybe got that one. That's Perkins for the Swans diving through the ball, onto the ball. Ashley Jubbs there. And again, McMichael wearing that good old number 5 jumper. He goes forward. Johnson, number 19. There's a bit of holding there, and it's gone to the Swans. And it looks like young Perry there will take the ball. Take the free kick there on the wing. He's really got to start switching play. There's just too many Tigers down that wing side. And again, he's kicked forward, perhaps looking for Jubb or Phillips.
Phillips is up high, but he missed that one.
Yes, and Dwayne Cashman's back on the ground, running pretty freely. Phillips using his bulk there, trying to barge through the pack. Piacidon's got onto the ball now. Oh, good tackle. The ball was spilled free. And that's Dilger there, having a bit of a fumble. But he's done his job, and he's put the ball out for a throw-in. That looked pretty dangerous there for the Tigers. The Swans really looked like they were going to kick the goal.
Deep in the pocket there for Central Coast Swans. Up high goes the Tigers player. Phillips has got the ball. He handballs it out, but it's nowhere for the Swans. Tigers could clear here. Cullen's down there for Brooklyn. But Blake looked like he gets the ball. That's a great snap, but no, I think it might be 1 point. The Swans get their first point for the day. They trail 2-1 to Brooklyn 3-2. So it looks like Tony Stewart to kick out from fullback. Number 15 for Brooklyn. No doubt he'll go to the defensive side. Bringing it this side, that could open up the game for the Swans. And I'm very surprised, as Jim is, that they haven't used this side of the ground hardly at all, Swans. As Stewart kicks out, long drop punt. That's a good kick. That's nearly out to the wing. Phillips is out there with Brian Cameron, and the ball's out of bounds again. Yes, it's been out of bounds quite a bit out there, Jim, hasn't it? And I think it, as you said, they really need to get the ball across, or they'll find themselves in a bit of trouble, I think. If the Tigers can use the ball well in the second quarter.
It's interesting now seeing that Tony Stewart back in the Tiger side has really given them stability on the back line. They probably lacked that a bit in their last couple of games. That's Simic coming forward.
Simic going forward.
Like young Judd there. Oh, a shocking bounce. He could have run onto it. But it's Cullen. Cullen clears into the centre where Bestie takes the mark. Oh, he could have played on, but he slowed it up a bit. Perkins held him there well. Bestie kicks forward, looking forward. Dwayne Cashman went a bit soft there with the one hand. That's good defensive work from Nathan Smith. And it looks like the other Cashman now, Matthew Cashman, the captain of the Tigers. Picks the ball up, looks for Sutton, and that's a great pass. Very skillful kick there from Cashman. Sutton now tries to transfer play. Oh, Perkins cut that off very well. And that looks like Rogers again kicks the ball. It's a Tiger on his own, looks like Dwayne Cashman. And he takes the mark about 30 metres out from goal, but he's in the dead pocket, and that will take a very good kick to make the distance from there.
The Tigers' crummers look a little bit better at the moment. They're in the last 5 or 10 minutes. The Cashman boys, Adrian Best, they're all starting to come into the game. McMichael, he's been one of the leading players, in my opinion, on the ground in the first quarter. And as you said, Dwayne Cashman lining up. His short passes to McLaren, and he's been given too much latitude so far by Paul Smith. This could be his third goal, and he's a very good kick for goal. But it's a very difficult pocket to kick goals from. Very important shot for goal for Brooklyn Tigers. He's going to pass it off to Dwayne Cashman. But no, Bob Ferguson said he's got to take it back.
He hadn't blown time back on again after setting the angle, so that was the reason that McLaren couldn't play on then.
Well, pleased you told me that, Jim. I didn't have a clue what was going on there. Anyway, McLaren shooting for goal. Deep in the right forward pocket. That's a great shot for goal. And McLaren's on fire this quarter. I think that's his third.
Yes, that's right.
That's his third, yeah. He's kicked 3 straight. And if you give him the shot at goal, you're in trouble because he's a very accurate kick. Yeah, so Tigers are double the Swans at the moment. 4 goals, 2 to 2-1.
I think Tubby Cox has got to make the move now. He's got to move Paul Smith off. McLaren, he's just not tall enough and perhaps not fast enough. McLaren is a very quick leader over the first 5 yards. And I really think the Swans have really got to make a move. McLaren's just going to tear him up.
Yes, I don't know who they can put on him down there. It's a bit of a problem because, as you said, Paul doesn't really match up that well. Paul Smith doesn't match up too well on Andrew McLaren. They probably need someone a little bit taller. Matthew Cashman gets the ball out from the bounce of the ball, and Jason Sutton, he's played a great first quarter. He's been a real target down there in this quarter. Smith leading for the ball this time. Del Perro's there, and he gets the ball out. No, he can't clear it. Adrian Best, he can't get it either. He handballs forward, but it's been called a throw. It's a good decision. Didn't quite get the hands on it properly. And the old stager Russell gets the ball. Gets the free kick. Webb's there, but he's under pressure from Sutton. Paul Smith gets the ball, but it's out of bounds.
The Swans are just playing the wrong side of the ground. They've got the breeze behind their backs, and they're just wasting their opportunities here. As we now gone past the 20-minute mark, there's only be a couple of minutes left to go in the quarter, and really the Swans need to get a couple before the end of the quarter. Otherwise, they're really going to waste this breeze.
Yes, it could be a vital first quarter for them. If the Tigers use this side of the ground in the second quarter, I think the Swans could be a little bit late even.
Got Jason Sutton's down there. Trainer's out. No, he's getting back up. He's okay.
That was a good mark by Devine. He was the star in the second semi, and he's playing very well again today. But the ball was touched off Hubbard's hands and over the boundary line. So Tracy Harvey to throw the ball back in as we get a youngster out in the field.
Yes, got an extra player. Oh, the extra couple of players coming out onto the field here. Not sure which team they go for.
Will Tubby Cock give it a player count? We wonder. No, he's got no colours on.
That's
Rogers takes a mark. Kicks the ball into the forward line. Dwayne Cashman's there, but I think the ball will beat him out of bounds. And so I've never seen a game or quarter football where the ball's been out of bounds so much, Jim. It just goes to show the ground. It's a cross breeze, I think.
Yeah, the cross breeze and plus perhaps the ground. It's not a familiar one for any of these players. I'd be surprised if many have played on here before, and they're just sort of feeling their feet on the oval, I think. And so far, the midweek training that the Swans have had really hasn't helped them. They're not playing this ground well at all. It's McMichael again. Ducked his head then when he got tackled, and the umpire's called for the ball for a ball up.
It was a fair decision too. I think it was probably not a free kick either way there, I think.
And again, it's Simic lined up on Runciman. Runciman's done a magic job so far this quarter. We perhaps underestimated him up here, and he's doing an exceptional job. And there goes the siren. This won't count any mark here. So Bestie gets the last kick, another stat for him. And quarter time scores. Tigers 4 goals 2-26 to the Central Coast Swans 2-1-13.
I think it's a fair indication of the way the game went too, Jim. I think that probably Tigers deserve that lead. They bottled the ball up on that defensive side well, and I think a 13-point lead is fairly deserved. Yeah, I think the Swans are in a bit of trouble too, actually.
Yes, I think their finals experience for the Tigers is probably what's telling at the moment. The Swans don't seem overly short to do the ball once they've got it. So I think they're really going to have a serious talk here. Tubby Cox has got to bring them in, compose them again and set their goals so that they can come out in the second quarter firing. All the 1%ers, he reckons they're doing a great job. He wants them to really fire up this quarter. They reckon they could have a match-winning lead by half-time. As we see, another scrappy play there, but Dwayne Cashman, the leg's obviously better, gets the ball into his right and kicks it forward, looking for McLaren, drops what he probably should have taken. There's been a change there, and the ball gets cleared now. Paul Smith's out in the half-back flank, and he kicks it clear. There's a nest of Tigers there. Ashley Jubb's the only Swan, and he's up against a very experienced player in Brian Cameron, and Brian gets hold of a torp, kicks it forward, Sut, and Webb again, a contest. It looks like McMichael again in there, but the Swans come through. Number 7 for the Swans is Greg Richardson, and he's the one that's now on McLaren, and it looks like a free kick's been picked out here to the Swans, and it may well go to this Richardson. Yes, it does.
Yeah, he was the guy that I thought they should have had on him to start with, and I think that's a very good move on their part. It allows Paul Smith to run as well. He's not a bad runner off half-back. And Swans get the ball forward, kicked it long to Perry's there. No, but he can't get there in time. The Tigers cut him off. Pius Senton's got the ball. He's still got the ball. Under pressure, Brian Cameron. Pius Senton's got a second chance. He's still under pressure. He's fumbling out there, but it's a fair bit of pressure from Brooklyn Tigers, and it'll be a ball up. In fact, yes, it is a ball up. I thought it might have been a free kick given, but there's Bob Ferguson bounces the ball. Oh, that big fellow, who's that big Runciman again, over the top. He's winning the ruck duels at the moment, Jim, and that could be a vital stat there for them.
Yes, well, I think that's the tale of the game so far. When Piastridon had the ball there in the centre, he was set upon by 4 Tigers, and really that's what Adrian Best was so rapt about at quarter time in his address. They're just really hunting in packs, and they just put in so much pressure on these Swans.
They're getting numbers of the ball, which is a really dangerous thing for the Swans. They really need the likes of Wood, Pius Senton and Burke and these fellas to come into the game. Pius Senton has just taken it's a free kick. Push off the ball, so it's Devine, who's just starting to really show his presence here, who's really starting to take those big grabs at centre half back that he's capable of doing. So Devine. Runciman's coming off, and I'm not sure the player. Connell coming on, number 14. But the ball is kicked long for the Tigers onto their wing, on that defensive wing, which has probably had 95% of the play today so far. It's hardly come out this side, Jim. I'd probably say 5% of the play's been out here.
Yes, well, Runciman doesn't look injured. He's just coming off for a rest. I think he's done a mammoth job. And it looks like Rogers has gone into the ruck as the ball goes back out again over on the wing on the far side. Runciman, they'd be very pleased with his work. All the previews had that he'd struggle against Simic, but he's done an exceptional job. Simic again gets the ball out. Goes starts heading towards the Tigers' way. And I couldn't see he kicked that, but it goes well and truly forward. It looks like Russell and Webb for the Swans just see that ball safely over the boundary. And Jim Andrews is doing a great job with the boundary over that side. Called up at late notice, and he looks splendid there in his white. That's Croden there with the Swans, taps it out to Nathan Smith. Nathan Smith's under the pack there, and it's going to be a ball up again. It's quite scrappy. No opponent's willing to run off their opponent. They want to keep it pretty tight there, the Swans.
Yes, Mark Blake and Bruce Jubb haven't got in the game, and also Travis Burke hasn't had much of a touch, so it's a bit of a concern for the Swans. The ball just hasn't been down there enough. And it's in the Tigers' forward line, but young Simic gets the ball, handballs it off. Will this come off at will? Looks like Perry, a poor kick, a scrubber, puts the Swans under pressure. Tony Stewart gets the ball, kicks it long. It's not a bad kick. Barber went for the man, he didn't really go for the ball. Matty Cashman, number 11, gets the ball. Webb's there, sitting underneath, he's got the ball now. Will he clear? In fact, the ball's knocked out of bounds. Webby trying to get a free kick there. But one of the few times it's actually come out this side of the ground. And I'm interested to see if the Swans try to play this side a little bit more. As Banner Pye throws it in, Barber gets the ball, he's fumbled it, but he might get a free kick. A little bit unnecessary, so Barber gets one of his, it might be 50 metres. Yes, it is, against Connell. So Barber's an important player for them. A little bit of an aggravator, but if he can get in the game, it could be an important plus for the Swans. But he's quite a talented player. Pye gets the ball. No, he's built that mark. I thought he had that mark. Looks like Connell, the new player, just come on. It's not Connell. Rogers, in fact. Adrian Best sitting camped on the ball, misses it. Jason Sutton, good player in the first quarter, he misses it as well. Croden. Who's that? Looks like Nathan Smith. He clears out to Paul Smith, who takes the mark. So they switch out to that side again. It's on the half-back line. He bounces the ball while he wasn't moving, actually. Grant Wing sitting underneath it, he spills it as well. So some key Swans not playing well at the moment. Tackled there, under pressure, Tigers come out again. Something that's becoming quite a common occurrence here. Tigers in the packs again and winning the ball. Brian Cameron. Paul Smith, he's fumbling, under pressure, but I think that's a free kick to Paul Smith, and it's pretty well deserved, I think. There.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of the key players for the Swans. Piaston and Wing have both dropped easy marks, and they're worrying too much about their opponents, I think, and not enough about their own game. Paul Smith kicks forward, a big fly from Phillips, way too early. Wing gets the ball, but he got disposed of pretty quickly. Again, he goes onto the ball. He's playing a very tough sort of football here. He's just not quite getting the ball and getting clear. Paul Smith again gets it. Oh, he's just too slow. Tigers hunting impacts. Brian Cameron running like he's a 12-year-old, 18-year-old. Del Pero kicks off the ground. Oh, if you don't mind, umpire. He's put it through. Oh, Diego Maradona, eat your heart out.
Goal of the day.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. What a fantastic goal by the key full forward, Del Pero.
That was a real opportunist goal, Jim, wasn't it? I mean, it was one of those things that could have gone out of bounds and the full, it could have gone anywhere, but it went straight through the middle, and I guess that sums up the way Tigers are playing at the moment. They're making the most of the opportunities. They're, you know, some might say that's luck, but really you make your own luck, and I just felt that was a great kick by Del Pero. So the score now is 5-2 to the Tigers, getting the biggest break of the game. It's 2-1 to Central Coast. That's a 19-point lead, and that's a good lead.
Yes, and umpire Ferguson throws it up again. Connell gets the tap out. It goes to Dwayne Cashman. The Swans have got to stop this Tiger running on, otherwise the game will be over by half-time. Dwayne Cashman keeps the ball in. Handballs forward. It looks like Sut there. He's played a magnificent game in centre-half forward so far for the Tigers. The ball goes out of play, and it's be a throw-in. So it's a throw-in on the half-forward line for the Tigers. And again, it looks like Connell against Simic. A fair bit of push in. It's not a good throw-in, so Woody gets his first tap out, probably for his career. And the Swans are desperately trying to get this out. There's been a push in the back, and it looks like it'll go to the Swans. And it may well go to Simon Wood. Yes, it will. Gone against McMichael, that one. Wood plays on, looks for Barber. Barber's really been under quite a fitness cloud the last couple of weeks with a very doubtful wrist. But it's young Perry, kicks forward. Looks for Perkins. That's a good punch from Hubbard from behind. Again, Paul Webb gets it to Wood. Some of the old experienced heads of the Swans starting to lift. TS, he took the mark. He's played on. But Now Perkins, he only has to pick it up, but he can't do so. There was a bit of a high shepherd there by Hageman. An Academy Award performance by McMichael. No, by Connell, and Connell picks up the free kick.
A little bit fortunate to get away that one, Jim, I thought. Tony Stewart should have taken the mark and gone back. But that was a bad miss again by Swans, Croydon. A few of their players are really dropping sitters at the moment, and the ball's in there. Looks like it's a throw-up for Bob Ferguson. Jason Sutton on the back, on the bottom of the pack, as Brian Cameron comes off and Adam Broadrib comes on for the Brooklyn Tigers. Both players went up a little bit early in the ruck there. Perry gets the ball. They could be holding the ball. No, it's play on. Sutton off the ground. Looks like Nathan Smith. He's under pressure. He clears into the middle of the ground. Jason Pye sent number 15. Handballs it off to Paul Smith. Oh, he's put himself under pressure. He shouldn't have played on. But that could be it was a good tackle. That could be holding the ball. So it was a good comeback there by Jason Pye Senton for the Swans to tackle, a great tackle there. He kicks the ball, nearly slips over. But the Tigers are there. They're really playing well right around the ground at the moment. As they clear the ball, Broadrib knocked on to Matty Cashman. He slips over. Looks like Hageman there. He knocks it on. There could be a free kick though for a trip. So Hageman, the young ruckman, who's had a great season, I feel, for them. He kicks it out wide, looking for Barber. Barber using his body, but he held on to the jumper. So yes, unnecessary free kick, but it's Barber now, number 9. And I feel that Swans need to get back in the game by playing this side of the ground, Jim. I just feel that while they play the other side of the ground, I just think the Tigers will bottle them up, and I think they'll win a game that's bottled up. I really believe they need to play the attacking side of the ground, which is this side. Yeah,
the Swans seem to be a younger side, a faster side, and they're just really playing against themselves going against on the other side of the ground. And the Breeze has really pushed that one. It's a big punch from Devine, a fantastic punch, going to about 35 metres for the team. I think one concern is the Central Coast have pushed Piaston down into the centre of the field. He's just trying to get him into the game, but by doing that, they've lost a key focal point. So they're sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul in that regard. Broadrib gets a handball out, looks a bit half like a throw. Simic punches it forward. Oh, both players. Yes, it's a free kick to the Tigers. It looked a bit untidy there from Phillips. And the Tigers now look like they're going to clear. Paul Devine's played a great game. Kicks it out, looking for Dwayne Cashman. There may have been a shove, but it's play on. Young Perry leads the ball, but gee, they're really worrying about the opposition and not the ball. The Swans really got to get their act together. They're not playing well at all.
Yes, you're in trouble, Jimmy, if you're chasing the opposition. It just seems to be they're chasing the Tigers' backsides today, and I really think the Swans, as you said, need to focus on getting the footy and not too much about the opposition. Okay, they're a good side, Brooklyn, but I believe the Swans have the ability to win this match, providing they back themselves and play and look for each other and hold their marks. Hageman takes the mark. He's played well. They can't blame him, but he doesn't go back beyond the mark far enough. And the Tigers are able to spoil that, smother that kick. And in fact, it's a free kick on the full. So a bit unfortunate for the Tigers there. And young Perry this time. He gets the ball. Kicks it long. Broadrib's there. Doesn't quite take the mark. But the Tigers are there getting the crumbs again. Tigers kick the ball. Barber spills the mark. Tigers in there again. It's anyone's ball. But Adrian Best, well played, comes through. Webb's camped under the ball. He misses it. The old fellow Russell reading the play better. Kicks the ball long out to the wing. And it's Paul Smith, number 4 for the Swans. Takes the mark. He's starting to come in the game since he's moved off McLaren. Kicks the ball to Best. Narrowly misses the mark. Looks like, who's that? Rogers, is it? He kicks the ball down to Webb. Webb gets a bad bounce for the Swans. Del Perro knocks it on. Who's this? Rogers, number 18. Knocked off the ball by Croydon. Well, no, it wasn't Croydon. It was Simic. Well played, Simic. Pye Senton. The ball's coming out here a little bit more often now. They're getting into the play a little bit, the Swans. They move. They've got the loose man set up here. Simic at the end of that. Number 49. Kicks it long. A poor kick, though, and doesn't give Burke much opportunity. But I think the ball was out of bounds. So it's out of bounds in the left forward pocket for the Swans.
I suppose there's anything that the Swans can take heart of is the fact that they've been killed around the ground, yet they're only 3 goals down on the scoreboard. So it just shows they only got to lift their game a little bit and they can be right back into this match. This is a great opportunity now for the Swans for a goal. The throw-in is only 5 metres around from the point post. Hageman there, it looks like Cullen did very well there. He's punched it out to the 40-metre line. TS, he's just dropped that, but the umpire nearly blew the whistle but decided to play on. Dilger tries to get a kick. That's Jubb Jr. Kicks it to his dad. Yes, it is. And Bruce Jubb picks up the ball as a ping for goal. Oh, Cullen tried to be creative. He should have just tried to catch the thing. And it's hit the post and gone through for a point. So that, yes, it has been a point. So the scores are still the Tigers 5-2 to Central Coast 2-2. So it's only 3 goals of difference. They're nowhere near out of this game. They've just got to lift their rating, start being competitive. Oh, there's an easy mark to Perkins. Perkins left. He was manhandled. McMichael there for the Tigers. Piacerdon. Croden's come down the field. Bestie and Blake have a good contest. And that's Broadrib on the right. A desperate kick. Dilger sits under it. There's been something behind the play. And I think it may well be down the field. I think the umpire may have actually, yes, I think he sent, Mark Blake has been sent from the field. I didn't see what it was, something behind the play.
I saw what it was. He gave Bestie a clip behind the ear hole. He thought the umpire wouldn't see it, but the umpire did see it. And I think that was a good call. Yeah, there's no need for that, Blakey. And Blakey looks like as though he's got a 10-minute spell behind the goals.
I think that's just pure frustration. He's been one of their key players for most of the year, and he just cannot get into the game today. And the game gets underway again. They're playing a man short, the Swans. A big chance for the Tigers. The Swans might actually lift. This might be what they need to lift. But the McMichael gets the ball, goes straight to the centre forward. A lot of push and shove. Del Perro's taken a great mark. Oh, and there's been something behind the play again. McMichael and Barber. And the play goes on to Dwayne Cashman. Lines up for goal. Probably should have done a bit better from there. And the point results for the Tigers. They sort themselves out in the centre. The McMichael and Barber and Wood don't seem too happy with themselves.
It's a real opportunity to split the game open there, Jim. He was running to open goal. He could have gone further. Maybe the players weren't talking to him, but a real opportunity for the Tigers to really cut this game right open and have a substantial lead. But still they're 20 points up, or thereabouts, 19 points. Here's another chance for Tigers from the kick out. Oh, it's going to bounce. Depends on the bounce. It was a funny old bounce. It's still in play, in fact. And Russell gets a second chance from the fullback line. Kicks the ball long. Best is there. Richardson, number 7 for Swans. Broadrib kicks it over his shoulder. Quick kick. Tigers, they muck each other up. Oh, but they're very fortunate. A bit of holding behind the play.
No, it's been a throw-in, in fact.
It's a throw-in. So, yeah, the Swans were fortunate in that exchange because really that was an opportunity for the Tigers had that not been given out of bounds. So as we get our breath here, it's we check the score 5-3 to 2-2, 19-point lead. And the Tigers have an opportunity in their full forward line. But it's a scrambly situation right now. Best over the top of the Swans player. Broadrib. No, it's not. It's McMichael. Comes out with the ball. And a ball up again. So Bob Ferguson umpiring his penultimate season. His last season in the AFL as an umpire. And the ball comes out now for the Swans. Kicks off the ground. Could go anywhere. The Tigers still still pressuring. Croden's under pressure. And in fact... it's been given against him, holding the ball, so that was a pretty quick-fire decision. And so Tigers captain and coach, Adrian Best, kicks long, ignores the lead. Kicks long there, it's going to be through for 1 point. So 1 point for the Brooklyn Tigers, 5-4, 34. They lead Central Coast 2-2-14. So it looks like another change for the Brooklyn Tigers. Connell off and Runciman on. David Runciman having a spell and has come back on. And that's a kick out, good kick out, and the Swans mark it on the outer side. He brings it dangerously across play. Gee, they'll need to grab that. This is dangerous football. It could come unstuck. In fact, it's a free kick for Sutton. So, very dangerous play. Might have come unstuck there because Sutton is lining up from on the 50-metre line. And he's a pretty awkward kick, as you said. He's got the Andrew Dunkley style, Jim. But
yes, well, we've got Sutton here, lines up from about 40 out. The breeze is behind him, and that is a huge kick. Big fly from Dipper. It's Barber now. He might handball it through. No. Oh, that's a good vision there to Wood. And Wood kicks it out. Looking for Big Perry. There's Smith there. And that's Perkins. So there's 3 of them. They might be starting to hunt in packs. But, oh, look at this. Yes, Hubbard over to Rogers. Rogers can nearly dob it from there. As a ping, waits for the breeze to bring it round. Dipper looked like he may have been held. And it's gone through for another point. Well, the Swans just aren't talking. They're fighting over the ball between themselves. And they've really got to lift their game. This is a very dangerous time in the match. Barber kicks out, and he gets just a short one into the pocket. Looks like Nathan Smith. Nathan Smith looks forward further. There's a big fly there from Paul Smith. Couldn't bring it in, but they're playing from behind again. Rogers picks up the ball, has a ping from 40 and dobs it. Oh, are we seeing the end of the game here, right now? That gives them a 4-goal break, and they are absolutely all over the Swans at this stage. The scores now are making their way. The Swans are only 2 goals too, and the Tigers are moving to 6 goals 5. 6-5, 41, and the Swans are only 2-2, 14. So the Tigers definitely have the goal-kicking end, and it just shows how well they did in the first quarter, keeping the Swans only to their 2 goals.
Yeah, it's very important now the Swans get their act together pretty quickly, Jim, because I just think that the Tigers are getting on top around the ground. They're, as the umpire comes to bounce the ball, they'll need more out of Hageman, they need more out of Simic. I notice Barber's on the ball now, Wing and Wood, so that's probably their best combination in the middle. But whether they will suffer as a result in their back line and forward line with Barber in the middle there, but the ball was cleared into their forward line. Wood's battling there again against 2 Tigers. Broadrib, he's playing a pretty good game, Broadrib. He's a real battler, that fella. And he gets the ball, and Jason Sutton, they haven't lost anything by putting him at centre forward. He's a very strong mark, this fellow, and Webby will have his hands full on him. Sutton kicks long, down to Del Perro. Russell outmanoeuvres him though, and takes the mark. Good mark to Russell. He's not a bad player, body on body. He kicks it long, but, oh no, good effort. Tigers, though, get the crumbs again. They're just getting under the packs and getting the crumbs. Sutton, like a rover, gets the ball over the shoulder. Dwayne Cashman camped under the ball, was always going to mark that, and really the Swans are in heaps of trouble. They're in disarray at the moment. They really need to get back to a game which they played well last week, a good run-on game, but no, he's missed that, so a real let-off for the Swans. The Tigers, had they kicked straight, this game could be all over, but as it is, there's 28 points of difference. Brooklyn Tigers 6-6-42, leading Central Coast 2-2-14. As Barber takes a kick out, a short kick to himself, and then he kicks long. 3 Swans on 1, but the Tigers really pressure there. In fact, yes, it's a free kick to Swans, throwing the ball as Wood gets the ball. A little bit quiet today. Perry, number 37, takes the mark for Central Coast. Can they use it now? They'll need a couple of goals really quickly, I believe. Kicks it to Simic. Simic takes the mark, 15 metres away. Pye Senton leads, and that's ignored. As Simic goes back for a long kick. Good kick too. Jubb's there, Phillips there, no one can mark the ball. But Adam Broadrib gets the ball again. He's playing a great quarter. Jason Sutton there, but a good mark to Nathan Smith.
Yeah, the Tigers are just flooding the back line. As soon as the Swans go forward, they're just pushing that wall back into the centre-half back line, and they're just giving the Swans no room at all. Very clever play here from Barber. Kicks it out wide to Perry. They're playing this side now. That's a change in tactic. Oh, I think Jubb could have gone a bit harder. Wing gets it. That's a great smaller from Cullen. Towards Burke. Burke just happened to be on his own. I think Cullen really had to go for the ball in this contest here, and by doing so, he freed up Burke. The ball was luckily spilled to Burke, who turned around and... That's one they desperately need into the breeze. That puts them to 3 goals, 2-20, still trailing the Tigers 6-6-42.
Yeah, as you said, that's a bit of an understatement, saying they needed that one. I think that just hopefully for their sake, the Swans, that they can get a bit of a run on here, because Burke getting that goal will give them a bit of confidence, because he's so important to their makeup. He's very important to them, just as Del Perro is at the other end for the Tigers. As we see the bounce of the ball as Ray Masters comes in now. About halfway, probably about 20-minute mark of the second quarter. Pye Senton wins that tap. Barber in the middle, he gets another touch. That could pay off for them. Barber is starting to come into the game in the middle, but that's a good mark to Brooklyn Tigers. Dilger, around about centre-half back. Kicks long. That's been a feature of their game. Webb there, spoilt the player there. Swans desperate. Oh, what's his called? A throw against the Tigers. So Swans get a bit of a reprieve there as Webb takes the ball to centre-half back, and he's been pretty solid too. He's had a pretty tough task on big Jason Sutton. He kicks the ball long. Who's there for Swans? They're outnumbered again. No, but they've come in there. Broadrib. Oh, he's tackled well. He's still got the ball, Broadrib. He's playing a good quarter. What's our umpire going to say this time? Looks like a ball up. And we could be in for a bit of rain, Jim. It's looking a little bit overcast, so just hope the rain stays away.
Yes, I think one of the main keys to the Tigers today has been the form of Jason Sutton, the centre half forward. He's given them certainly given them a target coming through the centre. Simi's got the ball, probably tackled a bit high. No, the umpire said he ducked his head.
Yeah, he took too long.
And he's been pinged for holding the ball, and it looks like it's Shorty. Craig now has got the ball on the half-back flank, kicks it down towards the wing, where he's looking for Rogers. Oh, that's a great mark. Wing. Well, he just really extended those arms. I didn't know they were that long, and he's just pulled in a beauty. Kicks towards Piasson, who's leading into the centre. Pye Seaton kicks the ball out. Barber's got a bit of a run on, so as Perry. There's a bit of shepherding going on behind, which wasn't on earlier. And Barber missed Barber with the handball. Barber's trying to play for a free kick. Gets clear now on the left. That's a great centering kick. And Phillips got the ball now, breaks through. Oh, he really could have kicked that. Probably had more time than he realised. It's gone straight up and down. And the ball now breaks free from the pack and goes out of bounds for a throw-in. Oh, Phillips really could have turned around and lined straight up there. There was no one on him. The Tigers weren't ready for that throw-in. The ball's come out to Perry. Oh, it's a good tackle.
Great tackle, Tigers. Really
But the ball was jarred free from the tackle. The tackle continued, and Perry's been given a free kick. Pretty fortunate one, really, for holding the man.
It's really a feature of their game, Brooklyn Tigers, this year. I believe is their tackling. I believe they're the best tackling side in the competition. And even though it was a free kick to Swans there's no easy kick for the Swans out there today. And looks like Perry with the ball now. Okay. So it's a vital kick really for them. If they can kick this one, they'll be back within 16 points. And so really crucial coming up to the end of the first half. So the Swans, their fortunes in this last few minutes could be really on the line here. If they can goal here. It's a great effort. He's kicked it. Well, that's a very important goal for the Swans and really keeps them in touch. And so that's Perry, yes, a great goal from that. Difficult today, Jim, to kick from that side.
No, it's quite surprising. They're kicking better from the harder angles. But, well, you just have a look at the reaction from the Swans after that one. That meant a lot to them with only 17 on the field. And that could be just what they need now to fire up and get back into the game. They're only 16 points down. They're 4 goals, 26 to Penguin 6-6-42. And this is a surprise.
Penguin, you mean Brooklyn Tigers?
Oh, well, it's got Penguin on the scoreboard. Yes, it's Brooklyn, of course. And Tony Stewart's been dragged, which is very surprising, and replaced by Brian Cameron. Swans go forward again. Pye Seaton's the only one looking at the ball. Tigers are just watching now. They've just set it into... Yes, Tigers are starting to relax. They may have thought they had this in the bag a bit early. That's not a good pass. Plays on, though. Burke's got a good handball over the back. Well, there was just no one there waiting. Tigers look like they can clear. The ball gets tapped back in again by Burke. He's doing some nice little fancy work. Ashley Jubb's in there for the Swans. The ball comes out to Wood. Snaps over his shoulder. Pye Seaton's there again, but he's not going to get there. And the ball bounces out for a throw-in 15 metres around from the behind post.
Yes, as the ball's thrown in again, and deep in the forward pocket. Tigers look like they could be able to clear here. Wood's got the ball. No, it's not. It's young Jubb by the look of it. But Grant Wing's camped under it. He won't spill those. He's got gadget hands, this bloke, number one. When he's under the ball, he's very hard to dislodge. There's a great mark to Grant Wing. And if he can kick this, mind you, he's not the most reliable at kicks.
He's another one from the Andrew Dunkley School of Kicking.
Yeah, David Cloak too, I think, was in that same school, wasn't he?
Oh, I'm a bit younger than you are there, Bevan. I don't remember him very well.
Grant Wing comes in, kicks for goal. It's a funny old kick, and that was a bad shot, for poor effort for goal, really. I mean, we might be underestimating that win, but that really should have been a score. And in any case, the ball's been knocked out of bounds. Ball up by the look of it, as Bob Ferguson will bounce the ball up, I should say, right on the edge of the square. Will Cullen knock it through, or Big Runciman? They'll probably try and knock it through for a point at this stage. Grant Wing, he's got the ball and the siren beats them. So really the opportunity was there for the Swans to kick another major, but the siren beat them. Well, Jim, that's I think it's pleasing from the crowd point of view that the Swans are able to fight back late in that quarter, and one stage 28 points down, but fought back with the last 2 goals, and the signs aren't too bad for them.
No, I think they'll draw a lot from the last 5-10 minutes. As soon as they lost Blake, really, they started to look like they started to knuckle down, started to hunt impacts, and I really think they're right back into this. They're only 16 points down. Wing will be disappointed he didn't kick a goal there in the dying moments of the quarter. But apart from that, they did start to gain control of the game, and kicking with the breeze in the third quarter, they can get themselves right back into it. Just got to lift their intensity that little bit more. I'm sure Coxie will give them a bit of a serve, And, well, the Tigers, though, in contrast, they'll be a bit concerned. They put the foot off the tank there near the end of that quarter and let the Swans in, whereas they really could have really ended the game there in the last 10 minutes, but they slowed down, relaxed a bit, and gave the Swans a couple of rather easy goals there at the end of the quarter.
Yes, well, it's interesting in the ruck contest. I really think the Tigers, in fact, probably just I reckon they hold sway there. And in fact, I think if Swans are to win the game, they really need to win the ruck duels. And with Simic and Hagerman, I thought early in the game they held sway in the ruck, but I think the Tigers through Runciman and the other ruckman, Dilger, is it? I think they probably fought back really well, and they started to give their players an armchair ride early in that quarter. But I thought as soon as they put Barber in the middle and Wing in the middle, and Wood, the other Connell's the other ruckman for Tigers, but I think when they made the change midway through that quarter, the Swans put Barber in the middle, and also noticed their Wood. I just seemed to get the ball out a little bit more effectively, and a few opportunities just came their way. Barber pushed it in the forward line. I just think they're coming back in the game. And for the Tigers, well, I think they deserve their lead, and I think it's mainly because they're ruck duels, but because Jason Sutton, they haven't lost anything centre forward, because with Hobbs out and Zylstra out, one would think that the Swans would be able to hold sway in the back line, but I think Sutton's been very important.
Yeah, for certain. I'd almost put Sutton best on the ground at the moment, but the only concern we've got is for the Tigers is that Tony Stewart was taken off the field, one of their key players. He may well be injured. We'll just have to wait and see when the second half starts.
We're back for the second half a little bit later on. Like I'd hazard a guess, probably 20-10, I reckon.
Yes, and Bruce McAvaney tells us that the hard ball gets are well up on the Tigers, and the Swans have found a bit wanting there, and also their ability to mark in packs is down as well. They tend to be kicking shorter rather than the long kicks, and they really need to address that. They need more long kicks into their game if they're going to be a serious contender for the flag in the second half.
It was interesting, as soon as the Swans started to move the ball out on this side of the ground, and that during that second quarter they started to get results, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't coincidental, because they've been playing the wrong side of the ground, I believe, for the first half, but as soon as they played this side of the ground, they got 2 late goals, and in fact, we're in line for another one in that second quarter. But the game is about to recommence, and it's getting fairly overcast here, and I'd say the crowd will be around about 200 people, Jim. If I had to hazard a guess, 250 people. Yep. So it's a good roll up again, and this is a really good ground, really, for the Christian League Grand Final. As Ray Masters holds the ball aloft, as both teams are really fired up to finish the game off well here, as he's about to bounce the ball. Runciman up against Simic. Simic wins the tap, Wings there, gets the handball out, and it's no one's ball at the moment. It's bouncing on the half, or right near the centre on the wing on the other side of the ground. But Bob Ferguson looks like he's picked out a free kick. Don't know where he got that one from, but it's a free kick to Brooklyn. Dilger gets the ball, kicks along, a good kick too. Webb's there, no mark, under pressure from the Tigers, and it could be a ball up. So I hope the umpires let the game flow, Jim, in this last half.
Yes, well, I just had to talk to the lady on the gate, and she reckons 300 people have come through, so that's a terrific crowd. That's easily the biggest crowd we've had this year. And the ball up there now, Simic is just starting to get over the top of Runciman here. Gets the tap out, but Bestie very quick, gets away, got the right foot. There's a lot of holding there, yes, and the umpire's seen it. Divi Del Pero was held by the arm. He had the front advantage there on Russell, and Russell was just not prepared to let him go. So this is a crucial kick for goal. If they get this, they could just about run away with it, I think. They'll get the run on again and take away any advantage the Swans may have had at the end of the last quarter.
There's Del Pero, he'd probably be 35, 40 metres out from goal. Very direct approach, beautiful kick for goal. I think he's dobbed that. Allowed well for the win, and I think that's Del Pero's second goal. So Brooklyn Tigers move to 7-6-48. They lead Central Coast 4-2-26. And really, I think the Swans needed the first goal, but obviously the Tigers getting that first one, they jump back out to a 22-point lead. Be interested to see if the Swans start off with Barber in the middle. Looks as though they will, with Wood, Simic. And for the Tigers, McMichael, who's quietened a bit in the second quarter, but he played a great first quarter. Dwayne Cashman's in the middle with his brother Matthew Cashman. As Bob Ferguson throws the ball up. Simic probably up pointed at that time. Wood gets the ball, doesn't get any distance. Wing's got the ball now. He can't get clear, but it might be a free kick to Wing. Unfairly tackled there, and Grant Wing gets the ball. Equal best and fairest winner this season. Gets it down long to Burke, but he's outnumbered. Wood gets the crumbs, can't get hold of it. taps on well to Barber, though. Very good play. Barber, a real chance here. Swings around, shoots for goal. He's dobbed that. That was a very clever goal. Under a bit of pressure and broke clear. And he's popped it through on his left foot. So the Swans got a great reply there, Jim.
Yes, I was saying that's a very quick reply for the Swans. They desperately needed that. And Barber's just starting to show a bit of influence on the game. He's concentrating on the footy again, and really that was just a goal out of nowhere. He made the most of a very limited opportunity there, and it's good to see that Wing's starting to get the ball again early in this quarter. I think Wood has got a bit of the fumbles there. He needs to just take a bit of time, make sure he gets the ball in his hands before he tries to do something with it. But a very positive reply there to the Swans. They'll need a couple of quick ones this quarter with the Breeze, just so they can really become quite competitive come the last quarter.
Yes, I think the Swans have got the matchup right in the middle at the moment. They've got Wing, Barber in the middle there, as we see Wood there. He's fumbling today, but at least he's getting hold of the footy. And what's the verdict here? Looks like another ball up to Ray Masters. As we see the president of the Central Coast Swans, David De Bruin, walking up the steps. The ball's bounced in the middle again. Brett Johnson, Chopper Johnson, can't get the ball. Knocked out to Matthew Cashman. He gets the ball, a half-distance kick. Simon Wood taken a bit high, and it's a free kick to Wood for the Swans. Well, David, how do you think the team's going?
No, we're just lacking a bit of confidence at the moment, but we're confident we can get back into the game. We just hoping for a big effort from some of our key players this quarter and next also.
Well, the Swans are going forward. It's a free kick's been pointed out, and it looks like it may well be going to the Swans forward as they pick themselves up. It looks like Wing. Well, it's yes, it looks like a free kick to Wing. He'd want to get the ball onto his boot a little bit better than what he did late in the second quarter. Similar distance out, about 25-30 metres out, directly in front. This is crucial for the Swans. They must put this one through to really narrow the gap and challenge the Tigers on the scoreboard.
Yep, he's lining up for goal here. Taking a long time, coming in. It's not always that good in front of goals, but he's got to get this. And it looks like he has. Yep, straight through. That'll get us closer now. Hopefully we can keep going from here.
Yes, and putting that goal through by Wing, that moves the Central Coast Swans to 6 goals to 38, and they're right back into this game. By jingoes they are, with the Brooklyn Tigers 7-6-48. 10-point ball game.
We've got a ring-a-ding-ding one here, Jim. There's 10 points of difference, and I was talking to John Del Perro at half-time. He said that the scoring end is probably the one that the Tigers are kicking to this quarter, so it's pretty important, that goal, I think. If the Swans can maintain this, you know, the closeness in the scores, I think that, yeah, just the general trend of the game in the last 20-25 minutes, I think it's gone the Swans' way. They've kicked 4 of the last 5, I think. And so the bounce of the ball again. There's an umpire's decision. Someone might have entered the square a bit early. Might be a free kick to Brooklyn, is it? To the Swans. Yes, someone from the Tigers ran across the line early, and looks like Simic, number 49. Gives it off to Barber. Barber's been a key player in the last 20 minutes or so. Kicks long down to Brooklyn guys. Burke's under pressure. Can't quite get the ball. And the ball could be taken out of bounds. No, it's kept in play. Great play over in that pocket there to keep it in play for the Swans. And it looks like it could be a ball. No, the ball is knocked out of bounds. The ball will be thrown in deep in the left-hand pocket there for the Central Coast Swans.
So, David, has there been any change in the tactics, the pre-game tactics for the Swans today? Anything during the week you may have done differently?
To be honest, I haven't had a lot of contact with the club this week, but as far as I know, there hasn't been a lot of change in our plans. We're just stuck to the game plan that we've had in the last 2 weeks and tried to keep it as just an ordinary game, and it's been no true changes that we know of. We've tried to keep the team as steady as possible.
Okay, my spies tell me actually that your team was out here Wednesday night having a sneak preview at this ground. But we might just leave that one alone for the time being. And the players made its way down to the centre wing, and young Tracy there throws it back in. Runciman gets another tap out. He must be well on top in that department. I'll have to have the stats man check on that. Bestie kicks her off the ground. The Tigers got a bit of a run on here. That looks like the big tall fella in Rogers. Kicks with the outside of the foot. Good aggressive play from Russell there at fullback. And it goes to Wood. Wood paddles in front of him. The Tigers get it back. It's an errant handball though. Young Perkins onto the right. Gets it out to Nathan Smith.
As Nathan Smith kicks it out wide to Barber, and Barber, I think, has really come into the game in a big way, and he's been very important in their last 4 or 5 goals. Barber kicks the ball from the wing, looking for Phillips. He's been quiet, nearly takes a mark. Good play by Devine, though, and the ball's taken out of bounds. At this point, I'll introduce Jason Hamilton, the assistant coach for the Eastside Bombers this year. Jason, you've played against both these sides the last 2 weeks. How do you think the game's going at this stage?
At this stage, I'd have to say the Swans are going to win it, with Barber getting lots of possessions. And at this stage, Barber's going to have another go at possession here. And yeah, so we'd have to say the Swans, even though they're 10 points down at the moment, I would say they win in a close game.
Well, that's an interesting comment, but both of us, Jim and I, picked the Swans early in the piece, and I think our comments were looking pretty bad, or our tips were looking pretty ordinary at one stage. But a free kick here to Brooklyn Tigers. I think they really need to settle down, Brooklyn, here, and they'll probably need the next goal to stop the flow, I think. Rogers, Croden's in a position. Jason Sutton can't take that mark. Adrian Best, gutsy performance with his shoulder. Jason Sutton. Craig Short gets the ball, number 3, kicks along to Del Perro. This is dangerous, and he takes the mark. Great mark, Del Perro, under heaps of pressure, just held his ground. And Russell really was out of position to stop that one. Good play by Craig Short, and Adrian Best back there to get that ball forward. So Del Perro, this is a bit of testing kick. He's had a few shots from the other side, but I don't think he's had a shot from this side. Maybe one. Maybe one early in the quarter, actually, straight in front. But John Del Perro, I think, going for number 3. And he's kicked it straight through the middle, never looked like missing. And the Tigers go back to a 16-point lead. 8 goals, 6-54. They're leading Central Coast 6-2-38. And I really think we're in for a great grand final here now, Jim. I just got a feeling this one's going to come right to the wire.
Yes, well, it's good to see that Brooklyn have brought their kicking boots today, because their problem right through the season has been their inability to kick straight in front of goal. But today you can see that the key forwards, McLaren and Del Perro, have been very accurate in front of goal. And we say goodbye to David De Bruin, the president of the Swans. We thank him for coming up here. He hasn't been overly well over the last week. And the president of the league comes past and makes some sort of weird comment. If you want to see a weird comment, have a look at his haircut. And there's free kick's been pinged, another one inside the square, and this time it looks like it's gone to the Tigers. And it's Runciman has the ball, and he'll be kicking the Tigers forward. They'll be looking for another quick goal.
Yes, Runciman kicks long now, down to Sutton. He's been their main target today. Him and Del Perro. Swans try to clear the ball, but it's going to be a ball-up situation. To see the president of the Brooklyn Tigers, he was supposed to be coming up here a little bit later on. He's got the scarf around his neck, still doing the stats for the Tigers, but I think he'd be a little bit worried if... we'll get him up here shortly to have a chat. But as the ball is taken from the bounce up, but McMichael, number 5 for Brooklyn, gets it down to Del Perro. Bad bounce. Pugh's there for Swans. Still can't pick the ball up, but he's battling hard. Del Perro's there with another chance. But Swans there, blocking him off. Webb, Russell. Russell gets it out. Wing's back there to help out with Croden. And Wing takes it towards the boundary. Good play by Wing. Good strength to keep that ball on the boundary, over the boundary line. So what's the umpire doing? It might be a ball up. Maybe it wasn't out of bounds. No, and it's going to be a ball up. Umpire Ferguson, deep in the right forward pocket. Young Hagerman takes the ball but doesn't take it cleanly. Best, 1 out against 4 Swans. Pugh dangerously kicks it, but Paul Smith's there. Smith kicks long. Perry, is it? Yes?
No, that's Perkins.
Perkins, I should say, 41. Bundled over. Good, strong play by Rogers for the Tigers. Pugh's there. Del Perro. They're double teaming Del Perro. Russell for the Swans. He's under the pack, but it's another ball-up situation, as we could get a bit of rain here. Let's hope it doesn't spoil the game, though.
Yeah, certainly the temperature has dropped substantially in the last few minutes, and it's getting a little bit darker. Ball up for Ferguson. Comes to Dwayne Cashman for the Tigers. Has a quick snap, and it goes through for a point. So that just extends the Tigers' lead by another point. They go to 8-7-55, leading the Central Coast Swans 6-2-38. And also now Barber seems to be taking control of the kickouts. He's kicked it to himself a couple of times and then got a run on. But this time he just short passes out to Russell. He's got a bit of time, so he plays on. That's a real wobbly one from Russell, though, and that's going to go straight out of bounds. That was a poor option there, really.
Over the fence, is that?
Yes, the ball has actually gone over the fence. We may have a bit of a delay in play.
Yeah, so it's a situation now where I think Swans again need the next goal. I think if the Tigers can get to a 4-goal lead at 3/4 time, it could be very hard to come back. Particularly if the rain, it just could be around the corner. In the ruck situation now is a throw-in. Perry knocks the ball on. Hageman's there as well. Short for the Tigers. Runciman. And Devine as well, number 8. As Bob Ferguson throws the ball up, right on the outer wing. Not far from the scoreboard. As the ball comes up, throws up, wing's there. He's played a great quarter, wing. Clears the ball, or has he? Barber's got it. It's out of bounds. Yes, and the temperature's certainly dropped. There's a little bit of a wind, a little bit of a breeze out there now, and I know the conditions are pretty swirly out there according to the players at half-time. As the ball's thrown in, Dwayne Cashman has been pretty quiet. Gets the ball back. Webb takes the mark. He's an important player for them. He's got a little bit on top of Sutton in this third quarter, I think, towards the end of the second quarter as well. There's a wing. It's pushed slightly in the back, but no free kick. Swans get it out. They're going a little bit better in the packs now. Hageman gets the ball under pressure from Devine. Nathan Smith, the chance. Bad bounce though. Poor bounce for him. Barber's there. Another opportunity. He's well tackled. Swans battle it forward. They've got an opportunity here. Simic, he's got the opening there. Kicks poorly to Burke though. Burke gets a bad bounce. And Swans, Tigers are able to clear through Steer. Big Chris Cullen. There's 4 Swans, 4-on-1. And that young player is Perkins, I believe, is it? No free kick. As Tigers kick forward, they spilt the mark. Matty Cashman sweeping up back there on the half-back line, but kicks it straight to Paul Smith, who's come into the game somewhat, Jim.
Yes, he's starting to play on his man a bit tighter there in the back line, and he kicks it forward now. Oh, there's no one there. I don't know who he was looking for, but that's Broadrib. He's played a great game since he's come off the bench. He kicks it forward again. McLaren's got the sit here, but he just couldn't get to it. Johnson there for the Tigers, number 19, contesting with the Swans players. Stacks on the mill. Umpire Ferguson will say, "Give it to me, fellas, and I'll throw it up." So umpire Ferguson now just waits for the players to sort themselves out and throws the ball forward. Again, it's Runciman wins over Simic. There's the players a bit of holding there between Crowden and Best. Best under the pack where he always is. Over to McLaren on the left. And Dipper's got a chance, but it just bounces past him. Webb makes sure it goes through for a point. So a rush point to the Tigers, and they go to 8 goals, 8.56, and they lead now by 3 goals over the Central Coast Swans, who are 6-2-38.
So it's a 3-goal break now. So the Tigers have had 16 scoring shots to 8, so they've had twice as many scoring shots. So realistically, the Swans are a bit fortunate to be only 3 goals down. But the ball's cleared out there, and it's still anyone's ball. Paul Smith off the ground, but it deflects back to Dwayne Cashman. But Russell's out in front, backs his judgment and plays on. Good play by Russell. Tigers muck each other up. There's a real chance here for the Swans now. Perkins. No, Matty Cashman gets the crumbs. Good smother. In fact, hit him in the head. Unfortunate Nathan Smith. But it could work out for Swans here. It could be a fortunate bounce. Who is it? Barber's there now. Number 9. He's played a good quarter. Great play. Gone for goal. No, he's missed it. Phillips maybe could have passed it, but it was good vision there by Barber to get it to Phillips, and the big fella just missed. So that could be a costly miss. Real opportunity there, as the score is 8 goals, 8.56. Brooklyn Tigers leading Central Coast 6-3-39. As Chris Cullen playing full back today. Looks as though there could be the blood rule here. Burke. Yep, so Travis Burke, he'll no doubt clear the blood up and come straight back on because he's a key player down there. Okay, so number 13 for the Swans comes back on. Not sure who that player is, but so it's minor hold up in play here. In fact, it's Jonathan Stevens. So interested to see how long he stays on for, but Travis Burke has come off. I think it might be a bit of a cut to the forehead. So an interesting stage, a very crucial stage of the match right now. 17 points, still anybody's game, particularly as Tigers have what is probably the scoring end. Probably a 2 or 3 goal maybe favour to the favoured end, that one the Tigers are kicking to. So a little bit of confusion down at the moment. Big Chris Cullen is arguing with the umpire or talking to the umpire, and so we're not quite sure what the verdict is. Maybe a kick down there, downfield to the Tigers, is it? No, Chris Cullen, number 26, will take the ball. So recommencing play with Cullen from the fullback line, kicks long, good kick too. Out there, Dwayne Cashman misses the mark. Ashley Jubb gets it. Pye Senton has been out of the game. He couldn't get the ball that time either. But Chris Cullen desperately knocks the ball over the boundary line.
Yeah, that'd be a concern for the Swans now with Burke off the ground on the blood rule. They've lost their main focal point just for a few minutes. And this is really at the time when they really need to really press their chances and try and get a goal on the board. So it'll be interesting to see whether young Stevens can actually fill the void. Wing gets the ball out of the pack, has a snap for goal, but she's high wide and not very handsome. Out on the full. And the Tigers get a free kick there. It'll go to Cullen, and he'll once again bring the ball back into play. Looks like for the moment that Mark Blake's moved to full forward. Similar sort of build to Cullen, but he's quite a bit shorter. That's a great mark there to Paul Devine. Really got crunch going for that one, but he's quite a courageous player. Plays on over the far side. He's looking for Dwayne Cashman, who's made a lot of space for himself. And I think that may well find that's a free kick. Yes, it's too high against Wood, and it goes to Cashman. Wood does the nice thing, picks the ball up, throws it back to him. A gentlemanly thing. And Dwayne Cashman now kicks the ball, straight into the man on the mark, actually, and straight out of bounds. So it's a throw in there on the outer wing. The Tigers in front at the moment by 17 points. That's just under 3 goals. The Swans really 3 straight kicks, and they're right back in it.
Yes, the game's still evenly poised, and the play's been out that side of the ground quite, probably 90% of the time today. But you notice whenever the play's out this side, both teams have got a better opportunity to score. And I know it's Lionel Coates pointing the finger up at the commentators here, so maybe Lionel will get his chance a bit later on in the game.
I think Lionel read the program where it listed a couple of his not so great feats that he's done over the years, and he doesn't look too thrilled about the fact they found their way into the program. As young Ashley Jubb comes off and replaced by Burke, that's a great mark there. Looks like the short, and he wrestles his way free from Piacerdon and kicks it forward. Oh, it's a nest of Tigers. Runciman there, just head and shoulders above the rest. Simic just seemed to be watching. Runciman now kicks it back. He's another one with a funny kick in action. And it goes forward. Oh, Johnson had a good effort at that. Had a lot on it, but just couldn't hold it. Hubbard picks the ball up into the 40-metre mark. It looks like Del Pero is holding again. And I think this time, yes, it is. It's gone to Del Pero. Russell's been pinged for holding again. So this is going to be crucial. This could be his 4th goal. And Russell is absolutely livid. He's giving the umpire Ferguson a real spray.
Looked like a bit of both there, Jim, though. It was probably more obvious the holding of Russell, but I think it was a little bit of both, so maybe a little bit unfortunate, but really got to be so careful holding the opposition player. But that could be a crucial goal. Now it'll be interesting to see if the Swans can come back here. That'll be a disappointment, that result. But nevertheless, I think that's Del Pero's 4th or 5th goal. Could be his 4th, I think. And so, yeah, he's kicked very accurately. Whenever he gets the ball, he's been very accurate. Okay, so the score is now 9-8-62 to Brooklyn Tigers. They've jumped back to that 4-goal lead. They lead Central Coast 6 goals, 3-39. So it's 23 points of difference as the ball's back in the middle to be bounced. In the centre, I've noticed Wing, Barber, Wood, and a Simic for the Swans. Whereas for the Tigers, we've got Cashman, McMichael, Big Runciman. Yep, both Cashman brothers, in fact, in the middle. Brian Cameron's been pretty quiet today, but he's been there when they're required. Adrian Best for the Tigers. He's been pretty handy a couple of times in this quarter. And it's been a good duel between Sutton and Webb. I think Webb's been probably on top for the last, since quarter time maybe, or halfway through the second quarter. But the bounce of the ball by Ray Masters. Can the Swans get one back here? They'll need to stay in the game. Runciman, he's getting on top. Nathan Smith can't get the ball. Jason Sutton, the man I just talked about, gets great handball out to Dwayne Cashman. He could bang one home here from centre half forward. And look at that. It's another goal. That's danger signs there for the Swans. Big danger signs as the Tigers all come from every quarter of the ground. And really, that's a 5-goal lead. That's going to be hard to come back from there, Jim.
Oh, yes, I think that's really the first time there's been a real clear break from either side out of the centre. And that's real danger signs there for the Swans because the Tigers just took that out very, very easily. Just didn't even get a touch, the Swans. And Dwayne Cashman, well, he's known for his finishing off, and that was just a very clinical goal. Beautiful goal from 35 metres out. And yes, danger signs. I think the Swans don't grab a couple for the end of this quarter. I think she's all over, and it's just only a couple of minutes away from three-quarter time.
Yes, it's very hard to come back in the grand final by being 5 goals down in the last quarter. So the Swans will need the next 1 or 2, I think. But Sutton takes a great mark. Great mark by Sutton, and he's right on the 50-metre line. And really, I think Webby thought he had his measure there, but Sutton's strength in front was able to take that mark. So lining up, he's not a real good kick for goal. Awkward holding of the ball, but he's got good distance there. Wings in front, can't take the mark. Who can scout the ball? McLaren, very dangerous. And he's kicked it. That's his 4th. So the Tigers are on fire. The Tigers are on fire. Now that's a 35-point lead, and that's really opened the game up. 11-8, 74 to 6-3, 39, and the Swans are in big trouble.
Yeah, I think it's really important now the Swans have to start taking stock of the situation, start worrying about their own individual player that they're marking, and really just to try and stop the Tigers here at the moment. They've got a bit of a run on. They tend to kick goals in a big bunch, so they've really got to just man up, keep it tight, keep it about this, no more than this by three-quarter time, the gap, and really give it all they've got in the last quarter. As umpire Masters now bounces the ball. Simic on Runciman. Runciman really has won this duel very handsomely all day. McMichael gets a touch on that one. Goes to Paul Smith. Paul Smith, got hurt when crunched on that tackle. Pushing the back though to Blake. Mark Blake's now been pushed into the centre. They're trying a few different things. They've got nothing to lose. And the young tall Perry there grabs the mark at centre half forward. Kicks out wide, and that's where Phillips is, and he takes a great grab. One of the few times he's been able to get free today. And he's now about 40, 45 metres out from goal. Goes in short. That's not a good kick. Really gave Barber a real hospital ball. The Swans work it further forward, and the ball just trickles out of bounds about 15, 20 yards away from the point post.
Can't see Burke back on the field yet. No, he hasn't come back on, so Swans will really need to do something up forward in this manoeuvre. But the Tigers get the ball and handball through. That's good defensive play. And really the Swans need to really get something going here pretty quick. Blake's been quiet for them. I noticed he was in the middle at that after that last goal. Phillips doing a bit of pushing and shoving on Devine. He's trying to get himself into the game as well for the Swans. Pye sent in there, can't take the mark on the kick out. Dwayne Cashman there. Who else is there? The Swans are in the van. I can't quite pick up, but it might be a free kick. To Dwayne Cashman. Unfairly tackled there. Dwayne Cashman gets the ball. Half-back line for Brooklyn Tigers. And really, they just need to make sure that the Swans don't score for the rest of this quarter, and I really think they're in a great position. Dwayne Cashman kicks it down the wing. Devine in this? No, it's not Devine. Can't quite pick up out there, but it's forced along the boundary line and it's out of bounds. And so we're at the stage late in the third quarter, Jim, and they desperately need a couple of quick goals, Swans.
Yeah, so the 25-minute mark it's one of the longer quarters that we've had today. So there can't be much longer to go now before three-quarter time's blown. And the player's out on the far wing there, about to be thrown in. Again, it's Runciman wins again over Simic. So Runciman has been absolutely dominant. One of the Tiger players there, looks like Best, he got crunched into the ground by Perkins, and he gets the free kick. Best quickly gets on with it. It's a high kick towards centre half forward. Hubbard makes himself available and takes a very good mark in front of the pack. He's waiting for a lead. Dipper's gone towards centre half forward. There was a bit of a contact off the ball there. Sutton's grabbed the ball, kicks it forward. Richardson in front, goes to Dipper. He's just dropped it like a hot spud, but he gets it again off the ground, and he's kicked his second goal like that. Second one off the ground. Not as classy as the one he kicked in the second quarter, but that's number 5 for Dipper, and that's all she wrote. They can start singing their song now. I know there's 30 minutes to go, but gee whiz. She's a 6.5, 7 goal difference. The Swans look very, very down and out.
Yes, I think the fat lady's singing at the moment, Jim. I think the Tigers may as well put their name on the cup right now, because unless they've doubled the score, 12-8 to 6-4, need a major turnaround, a great comeback here for the Swans to get back into this one now. They just seem to have lost the momentum. The Swans can't even stop the Tigers' run on, so there's very little chance unless the Swans can really get it moving in the last couple of minutes here. Here's an opportunity. Blake should have taken that. Woody trying to lift him. Blake's there. Barber. Could be a free kick to Blake. Yeah, it's passed on there. So Blake he's one player needs to lift. In fact, they've given it to the Tigers. So it must have been a push or a tackle off the ball. Shorts there, misses the mark. Matthew Cashman. Adrian Best is there calling for the ball. Best gets the ball among 5 Swans players. Good pressure tactics by Webb on Sutton, but Sutton wins out. He's still there. Croden there. Webb there, number 2 for Swans. Best, gutsy play. Del Perro versus Russell. Croden. A little bit of a doubtful throw there, but or pass I should say, but the ball's out of bounds nevertheless. As umpire comes in to throw the ball in.
And throw in here right in front of us, and it's Phillips won that one against Rogers. Phillips does his own roving, gets it onto his left boot. That looks like Hubbard there in the centre of the field. And he's played a great game. Over to Dilger, who's been very good as well. I see he's now on Barber. Barber gets the ball again, got crunched very badly there. That was very untidy from Hubbard. It's gone downfield, and the Swans will take this ball on the centre half forward line. At the moment, it certainly doesn't look like Barber hasn't moved. He's holding his head, he hasn't moved. The umpire's asked, in fact, he may have given 50. Yes, the umpire has paid 50. This is what the Swans need. And they'll be lining up for goal. This is the young John Stevens, I think. And he'll be lining up for goal only about 20 metres out. The umpire's still going back. There's an old code in the umpires. The 50 metres is as long as the backmen keep complaining. And it looks like he's given a very healthy 50 there.
Looks like an 80-metre one to me, Jim. There's Barber getting up now. That's where it happened. So it looks like an 80-metre penalty. But never the Swans are the beneficiary of that decision. So that's straight through the middle. So let's see if they've got time to get another goal back. 12-8-80, Brooklyn. They lead Swans 7-4-46.
Yeah, the actual free kick was given downfield, and then there was another altercation which added to the 50. So that's probably where the 80 came from. And the Swans really need that, but by gee, do they need a few more. I don't know where it's going to come from. They're going to have to get more drive out of the centre. But Wood and Wing are starting to look very tired in the centre. I notice that Stevens has gone into the ruck to get a bit of bulk in there, and perhaps he can turn the game. So it's Stevens now coming up against Runciman. Ball's gone up. Phillips, he's got that one very well. Got a good tap out. Again, he's forced to do his own roving though, racing after his own ball. That's Wood off the ground. I don't know why he's not picking it up. Wing does that though, picks it up, gives it across to Barber in the centre of the field. Barber kicks it out. There's looks like Perry out there. Devine was way over the top, and Cameron just escorts the ball over the boundary line. There's a bit of an altercation in the centre. Barber is not too impressed with Runciman, but things have settled down.
Yes, it's been some of the unsung heroes of the Tigers, of Runciman, and McMichael's got a bit quiet, but some of the other players, Dilger, who've been really good players, Jim, and I've been really impressed with Hubbard as the other one. Hubbard and Runciman, and Devine. It's been a really a team effort, and I think that too many Swans players have gone missing, and I think but on the other hand, if the Swans can get the next goal here, it's in the half forward line, they could still be just a chance. So they need the next goal just to get a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence. But it's really hard to see it coming very easily, isn't it? It's as they throw the ball in now. Blake gets an opportunity. He's got a real chance to nail one here. I think he's kicked it. Well, that's a bonus goal right near three-quarter time. A great play by Blake, and he's just the guy that they need to lift as well. So 2 late goals to the Swans, and who knows, this game could take another twist.
Can you believe it? We've gone 32 minutes into this third quarter, so there's been a lot of time on being allowed for. I think there was a few altercations near each end where the play was held up for some time. And, well, that's fantastic. Blake has really come into his own now. He's moved into the centre and started having a real influence on the game. The difference now is back to 28 points, so it's only 4.5 goals. And, well, the Swans are giving themselves every chance. Phillips into the ruck has been a major difference. He's really starting to make a presence there for the Swans.
I think Barber's very important for them too. Like when he gets the touch of the ball, all the players seem to lift, and I think really the key is whether he can continue to play like he has been the last 5 or 10 minutes. He's really lifted for them. The ball's out of bounds though, and the Tigers just forward of the centre as ball is thrown in. Phillips back in the ruck there. Barber's got the ball. He's still got the ball. Clever play. He kicks the ball now. Finds touch, yes. That's a great rugby one, that one. Great touch there for the player. And so it saved a free kick as the ball's thrown in again, right on the edge of the wing position. As Wood gets the ball, can't clear it. Blake's in there. Maybe him on the ball can help the Swans come back into this game. There's a few players push and shove, both number 5, McMichael and Wood. McMichael for the Tigers, Wood for the Swans. As the ball's bounced, a lot of players around that pack there situation. Off the side of the banana-style kick by Matthew Cashman finds the hands of Nathan Smith, the captain. But that's a free kick. If he'd taken the mark, it would have counted, but he'd already pushed the guy in the back, went very early, and Jan Simic gave away the free kick to Paul Devine. Devine has played a pretty steady game today, Jim, and I think that he's been one of the best players. Yeah,
I don't think Simic can do a capper. His shorts aren't quite tight enough there. He's got the hands on the shoulders, but
the same colours.
Yeah, same colours, but Devine's had a great game in the back line. Oh, it's a bit of a wobbly kick, kicks it towards Sutton. Sutton makes a contest of it, which is crucial. Bestie there is really fighting hard, as is Webb, and that's gone out of bounds right in front of the Tigers bench. And they all seem pretty happy about it. Oh, there's a young fella there. Well, we've got them starting at all ages in this league. And the ball gets thrown in. Oh, that's right over the shoulder. The umpire didn't see it. Oh, she's aerial ping-pong in there. It's hit McMichael's head. He handballs straight for the boundary line. And it goes out of bounds, and there'll be another throw in right out in front of the Tigers box.
Yes, this crowd's very close to the action at this ground, Jim. It's even the little fellas coming out in the field. It's pretty hard to keep them off. The boundary line is so close to the fence. But back into the play now, number 41, Perkins, clears the ball. The Swans seem to have a little bit of a run on right now, and that's a great mark to Simic. Great mark. They'll need to move the ball quickly. I think the guy with a hand on the button in the press box has forgotten about the siren, because we've had a long quarter.
35 minutes.
Must be 35 minutes, but then again, there's been a lot of goals kicked, and that was a bad kick, because really Burke had led, but they kicked straight over the back into the hands of Chris Cullen, and he took a good mark. But the Swans are still there. Can they get the ball? They've got an opportunity. Goes forward, could be. No, it's a great mark to Broadrip. And so that was a steadying mark in that full-back line. And so the Tigers breathe a sigh of relief there. And there goes the siren. I think the man up there in the press box heard me talking about him. But at three-quarter time, it's 12-8-80, Brooklyn Tigers, and they lead Central Coast Swans 8-4-52. And I still think that lead's good enough, but maybe the Swans can dig deep and find something.
Yeah, once again, the Tigers dominated for most of the quarter, but really they could have really sealed the game there and then, but they've just let the Swans in for a couple of late goals yet again, as they've done earlier in the game. And I tend to agree with you. I think this is a big enough lead. The Swans aren't playing well enough at this stage, but maybe Coxie can do some sort of miracle at three-quarter time.
Yeah, it's an interesting pattern. Each quarter the Swans have come back hard at the end of each quarter, so maybe that's something that is in their favour to come back late in the game. And cause this game to be a real thriller, but they'll need to get a hurry on because there's only 25 minutes of football, and from the bounce the Tigers move forward, but it's stopped off by cut off by Paul Smith. Adrian Best there for the Tigers, still got the ball, tackled, gets the ball, half distance kick, great diving attempt, not long enough, says the umpire. Swans there, 2-on-1. They clear the ball back there by Richardson, out there to Hubbard. Hubbard's got it now, he's under pressure by that player there for the Swans. Number 14, Connell, is on the field. I don't know who replaced him, but he's back in the game, Connell. The play's almost stopped, but it gets out to Sutton. A great handball to Sutton, and he's got an easy shot at goal. Not so easy, though. It's 1 point. I thought it was pretty straightforward, but it was a fair way out.
Yeah, Connell's replaced Runciman again. That happened in the second quarter, and it's happened again now. I think just on Hubbard there, you'll mention him before. Bestie singled him out there at three-quarter time, saying he's been giving his guts out for the team, and we want the other team the rest of the players to follow his lead. So Perkins takes a mark there at centre half back. Looked like he tried to handball on there, but the umpire's giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he was surprised he actually took the mark.
Yes, as we're waiting for the ball to be cleared at the three-quarter time huddle in the Swans, the situation there was that Toby Cock called on the support on the players to not let the supporters down, but the ball was moved in the Tigers' forward line. Andrew McLaren has only had a few touches since quarter time. Kicks the ball long. Del Perro there. Knocked through for one behind. Rushed through. Yeah, and at that three-quarter time huddled, Donald Cox, the coach of the Swans, really talked to the players about not letting the supporters down. They've come this far this year, and he's really called on his rucks and rovers to help out in that back line, and especially get the ball down to Travis Burke, because he's the guy that's likely to win the game for the Swans if they're able to come back and snatch it. But as the ball is kicked out now by Barber, kicks to himself, kicks long. Oh no, the ball's staying, so it's no free kick for the Tigers. Dwayne Cashman's there, Russell, handball's out to... Dwayne Cashman's hurt by the look of it. He seems to have trouble with that right leg of his. But it's a free kick to Nathan Smith or a mark, one or the other. Ball's kicked long. The Swans using this side of the ground. That could be the winning move for them. Great play by the Tigers, gutsy play. McMichael, number 5 for the Tigers. He gets the free kick for kicking in danger. Kicks out of Hubbard in the middle. And he takes a good mark. At this stage, as the Tigers move forward, I'll introduce the president of the Brooklyn Tigers, Wayne Clark. Wayne, you noticed on the way up you said if you like, if you like to give you a hand. Well, I think it's a bit early to say the game's over yet.
No, it's still close, Bevan. 29 points is still close, and the Swans have proven they can come back. But let's hope the Tigers can stay in there, and with the key running players, looks like they're gone into second gear now. So it should be pretty close, I think.
I've been really impressed with the Tigers' pressure. Their tackling, I think, has been the feature to me, why they're in front. And in finals, tackling is a key, and I think the Tigers are the best at it in this league. And I think the tackling, the best, Adrian Best sets the example there, doesn't he? As Dwayne Cashman on the half-forward line shoots for goal. That was Best to Cashman, and that could be the sealer, as Cashman has kicked some crucial goals in the second half. That's at least his second in the second half, and that puts him 34 points clear, Jim. 35, actually.
Yeah, I think I really think that was what the Tigers were after. They wanted to get the couple of early goals on early in this quarter just to put the game beyond doubt, and that way they can just spend the rest of the last quarter now just enjoying the moment, taking in the atmosphere, and just really appreciating their hard work all today. I think Hubbard has been sensational in the centre. Like I said earlier, Bestie pointed him out for special mention, and also in the huddle he just wanted his team just to run, and he wanted to grind. He wanted to grind the Swans into the ground. He wanted really to run all over him this quarter and set up a big win. Ashley Jubb grabs the ball, got tackled a bit high, and he's only a young fella, this guy. He's got a lot of years in front of him, and he plays on. Oh, he got dealt with very late by Connell, and that's gone down the ground, and the Swans will have the ball about 50 metres out from goal, and I think Grant Wing will have to take this one. He was the nearest person to where the ball bounced. That was untidy from Connell. They're well in front. Bestie wanted them to be disciplined this quarter, and I think that was a bit uncalled for. Wing now looks in short. There's a good lead from Burke. It's the first time he's been able to do that all day. And he's led so wide now, I don't think he can make it from there. A good 45 metres out from goal. First time Carlin's letting him get away, actually. He's almost been like a second jumper. He's been that close to Burke today. Burke lines it up, has a long ping at it. It's gone straight into the goal square. There's a lot of flyers. And that's a goal. I think there's been a kick off the ground. Oh, no, touched off the boot. And once again, there's been a lot of congratulatory bits and pieces there from the defenders. And again, it looks like it's Paul Devine that got his hand in there just at the last minute to tap that through for a point. Swans are pretty confident they had a goal there. They'd be very disappointed. Cullen picks up the ball. Big boot. 50-metre kick. And he finds Johnson out there at the back flank.
Yes, there wasn't much argument from the Swans players. They're a bit disappointed, but there wasn't much arguing, so I think that was a good decision by the umpire. As the ball's cleared out to the other side wing, and Brian Cameron, not many touches, but every time he gets the ball, he does something with it. Number 12 out there for Brooklyn Tigers, not sure who that is. But anyway, the ball's pushed over the boundary line by Nathan Smith, the captain of the Central Coast. Paul Devine. Yep, Paul Devine, as he comes back to back up the field there to defend for the Tigers. He was the guy that was out there to push the ball out. As the ball's brought in over near the Penguin Creek Club pavilion. Phillips in the ruck. Best is there for the Tigers. He's one out, but he's so good at that situation. And he wins. Look at him. He's out there and he wins the ball. Puts it in front of Del Perro. But Russell he's got front position. Russell out there to Paul Smith. Smith gets a bad bounce. Russell clears the ball to half-back line. Number 13 is Stevens. He takes the mark. And there's Paul Barber. Paul Barber takes the mark. He likes to play on, but Tony Stewart won't let him play on. And it's Paul Smith, number 4, takes the mark. So they're sharing the ball around, Swans, but they need goals quickly. They need to get up forward as they move the ball out to Phillips in the centre. He's assumed the rucking role in the last quarter or so. But that's a poor kick. That's up and under. That's not really to the advantage of his players. And Connell comes in there, the player who gave away the last 50. He makes amends with a good mark. Kicks it out there to Brett Johnson. He handballs it over to Rogers. But out there, number 21, I think that's Nathan Smith. He can't get the ball. Sutton He knocks it out. Rogers is still there. Sutton. Crowden knocks it out. No, Wing's still got the ball. He keeps it in play. Gives it to Phillips, number 20. He's bundled off the ball by Dwayne Cashman. No, it wasn't. It was McMichael. Great play. Strong play. McLaren gets his hands on the ball. Handballs to himself. Over to the boundary line. Del Perro's under pressure and the ball's out of bounds.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Tigers have brought back Tony Stewart back onto the ground. He was taken off earlier in the game, the second quarter, with an ankle injury. It seems surprising that he would come back on this late in the game when the game looks like it's all over. Perhaps he too wants to save in the moment, and this is the moment the Tigers have been waiting for. Lionel Coates is warming up and looks like he's about to be given his first run for the day.
I was about to say, Jim, it'd be nice to give an opportunity to young Crow and Lionel to get a run, and I think the Tigers at this stage are pretty safe. Pretty safe as Barber gets a free kick on the half-back line. Wayne Clark, I'll talk to the president again in a moment. It's good to see players like Mark Harris out early in the season, but he's there supporting the boys, and it'd be disappointing that he can't be out there. I think he missed out last year, didn't he, Wayne?
Yeah, I think he did, Bevan. Yeah, the thing is that we try to say that those that stick by the club, we stick by. And Mark's a great example of that. From the start of the year, he was always there for the guys. It's pretty close out there. And the game's not over yet. And as you said before, Bevan, Bestie leads by example. And his words to me this year was he wants to put a bit of mongrel into the team. And let me tell you, Bevan, there's a lot of mongrels out there today really having a hot go for the Tigers.
Is that mongrels on both sides, Wayne? Or no, it's been a fairly hard grand final in terms of tackling. I think the Tigers, that's why they're in front. I really believe their tackling has been a feature. Look at that, a 3-on-1, Dwayne Cashman. Jason Sutton opened up path for Rogers. Rogers shoots for goal, and it's 1 point. So the game looks as though it's nearly all over. It's 35 points the difference. And Jim, I'll hand back over to you. 10 minutes into the quarter, do you think they can get back, Swans?
No, I think they're gone, and they'll look back and they'll rue the first quarter where they played a very conservative game.
Yes, I agree with that.
They played the defensive side of the ground, even though they were kicking with the bruise, and they really should have taken the gamble. They were the challengers. They should have had a go. They had nothing to lose, but instead they just played too defensive, and Barber's just getting a bit frustrated there. Got pinged for holding the ball, and I really think that's where the Swans perhaps won and lost it today. Just a bit too conservative. Perhaps not a bit nervous about making a few mistakes early, and they didn't want to take any risks. That's a great mark from Russell, though, in the back line.
Yes, one of the mottos of the Brooklyn Tigers is may the force be with you, and they've got the force out there today, and Tony Stewart put on a great tackle there for Barber, and Barber had a look at see who it was, and it was Tony Stewart, who I think's come into the game, has been pretty solid back there, hasn't done a lot, but he just adds a real metal to that Swans back line. And they have got a good backline, not the Swans, the Tigers backline. I think that's also a strength of the Tigers. They probably do have the best backline. As the ball's moved forward, and it's a good mark to young Hageman, a young player. He's only a teenager, Jim, and I've been impressed with his game this year. And as we see, Broadrib, number 20, tries to take the ball too far. Could have been pinged. Pye Senton gets the hands out there. Hageman again, Pye Senton. The ball's out of bounds, but that was tough. Solid play by Tigers.
It looks like Hageman may have hurt his shoulder there. He's holding it after that contest, and he seems to be in quite a lot of trouble. In fact, the umpire has stopped play, and I do believe he's going to come straight off. It's a nasty blow, though, for the Swans. If they had any chance, they needed their tools to fire. I suppose now at this stage, while there's a lull in play, we need to start thinking of who would be eligible or who's deserving of winning the Mel Metcalf medal for the best player in the grand final. And I really don't think you can go much past, perhaps Hubbard, Sutton, Runciman, Bestie for the Tigers, and really the one that's shone out for the Swans would have to be Barber. He has really lifted his work rate and has been quite competitive in the second half.
Yeah, really, Barber's about the only one. I think you're right there. I think that, he's the one that shines at the moment for them. But still, there's a fair way to go. Maybe a few of the other Tigers might put their hand up. Tony Stewart gets the ball at centre-half back. Good handball out there. McMichael's gone a little bit quieter, and this young Jubb gets the ball now after a fumble, kicks it up high, but the ball is going to drift across for a point. The wind took that, and it's across for a point. And so, really, unfortunately, the game is really it's practically all over. The feeling here is that the Swans can't come back, barring a miracle. You can't write any side off the final sign, but it really would seem that there's not much left in the Bicky tin for the Swans. Who's that player, number 8 out there?
Number 8, that's Hubbard.
Hubbard, yeah, he takes the mark. He's played quite well. Sutton there. Webb gives a little push out. Play on, says the umpire. Oh, tough decision. but Barber's there, the man we were just talking about, but that's a free kick to Brooklyn Tigers, I think.
And Lionel gets his first kick for the day. He got himself in the right position, played in front, which is crucial, and he has been champing at the bit to get out there and do something special.
It was good to see he actually ignored that swipe by Barber there. Paul Barber gave him a bit of a swipe, Lionel just ignored it.
Yeah, well, it's really good. Lionel's one of the hardest trainers around, and at night he's at training, he's always one of the first there. Always works the hardest on the track, and it's very deserving for him to be given this chance, just to suck in the feeling, in the emotion of winning this grand final. And that looks like Hubbard again has the ball over there on the wing. And he kicks it back in the centre. We've got Runciman, you've got Devine. Oh, take your pick, but they muffle it between them. And there's a new Swan out there. He's got a new Guernsey on. He hasn't been out there very long. Number 44. We'll update you on who that might be.
Callaway.
That's Callaway. Old Duncan's had a week off from Richmond, and he's having a go for the Swans here today. Phillips taps it out. That looks like Paul Smith got the ball there. The Swans are really making a meal of this. Great tackling again from the Tigers. Ashley Jubb again gets the ball out. But that's Ben Johnson, kicks it clear for the Tigers, out to their half-forward line. And Jason Sutton, I think he'd be my pick for BOG. He has been such a vital target for the forward, to kick forward for the Tigers.
Yes, well, centre-half forward is your key position on the ground, isn't it? And really, if you compare the two centre-half forwards, Jason Sutton has been the better centre-half forward of the two teams. They've moved Phillips out, but as the ball comes forward, Matty Cashman, among three Swans players, he was the only one really going for the ball, and he took that mark. So there's a lot of players you can pick from, Jim. Yeah, it's a really hard decision to call, that one. You could give it to a handful of players, but there's still a bit of this game to go. And it'll be interesting to see if the Swans can just keep fighting this game out. As number 7, Richardson, gets the ball. Let's hope they can fight the game out. It looks like, Bob's picked a free kick there, and it's to Mark Blake. Well, Blakey's been pretty quiet, but at least in the second half he's put his hand up and had a bit of a go. But number 10, that's a good effort. No free kick. Should have been a free kick or a mark. But there's play on there, and maybe in a grand final, play on is the best call. Number 12. Number 12, I can't remember who that is now, but he clears it up. Devine it was, of course. He's played fairly well too. Nathan Smith, no doubt disappointed, the captain of the Swans, runs the ball out on the far side of the ground.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you in the final. I think you've got to just earn those free kicks just that little bit more. And the umpire obviously have the same opinion there. Dilger got his head ripped off, but just sail back on, do a Jimmy Steins, he'll be right. The play continues on out in the far side. That looks like Perkins had a bit of a go at that. Moves on to his left foot, natural left footer. Kicks towards Stevens and Crow. Good to see Crow on the field too. He's been given the chance, given a run by the Tigers. And full credit to Crow. He's another one that trains in hard week in, week out. Moves forward again, and that goes to Dilger there. He's moved forward in the last quarter. I think he wants his name on the goal kicking sheet. But, I don't know if you heard the effects there. The president of the Tigers, that was a shocker of a kick. Barber in there working hard again. Oh, half throw, half handball there from Paul Webb, and it goes to Paul Smith, who gives it across to Blake, and they look like they're going to get themselves out of trouble here. Simon Wood, he was there 2 years ago when they got beaten by the Tigers, and he'll be very disappointed. Hubbard again, in fact, he's really grown in stature as the game's gone on. This has been a great display.
Yeah, well, he's my pick for best on ground at this stage. I think for four-quarter effort, he's played a pretty good game, actually. And this is a man that's come into it too, Dwayne Cashman. Tigers seem to have 25 players out there at the moment. They just seem to be running more, even though they're in front. They just seem to be running the game out much better. And I noticed Wings on the full-back line, so he's trying to cover the whole field, Grant Wing, to get the Swans back into it. And he's probably been one of their best players, Grant Wing, today too. Who's this player out there? Looks like Johnson. No, it's not Johnson. It might be Big Dilger. Best knocks the ball on. Number 16, Blake's in a bit of trouble. Hands balls cleverly to Wood. Wood's coming into the game a little bit in this last quarter. Gets the ball now. Kicks long. But that man Hubbard's there again. Manhandled, but no free kick. Phillips gets the ball. Number 20. Crunches the pack. That's Simic. Gets the ball. Like a hot potato. Gets it there. Pie Senton. The Swans in more hot water than a green commercial, eh? Green. It's good punch away. That's good play by Cullen. That's great defence on Travis Burke. Chopper Johnson gets the ball from the half-back line. Brian Cameron. Here's the call from Sutton and lets it go. And Sutton, yeah, he's played a great game, Jim. Centre half forward. And they've got another man on him by the look. But Grant Wing kicks straight to Grant Wing. But it's punched away at the last moment. Russell, he hasn't given up trying. And he won't give up. Wood gets the ball again. It's motionless play by Swans. They've really stopped to a walk, but the Swans are full of running. As the ball comes back to Del Perro, cleared the pack, wasn't Russell's fault, and Del Perro lining up for number 5 or 6. It might be number 5, I think.
Yeah, that was great play again from Runciman there in the centre. They call him Gringo, and that was just a terrific pass. Terrific pass there to Dipper. And Dipper now lining up for his 6th goal. And he's another one that really can't be discounted. 6 goals in the grand final is nothing to be sneezed at. And he looks like he may have put it through for a goal. Yes, he has. So the Tigers now in celebration mode as they wind down the clock. This is going to be a very momentous victory. They have gone for the three-peat this year, and that's 3 in a row. A marvellous achievement. And I don't know whether the President, Wayne Clark, is cheering or trying to strangle himself with his scarf, but he's really making motions. He's doing the Kevin Sheedy now with the scarf. He knows he's got it in the bag.
Yes, well, Wayne's he's pretty pleased with the boys, and no doubt he should be. I think that there's a few of us that thought the Swans might win today, being a dry ground, and really the way they played last week, but all credit to the Tigers. They're a very even combination. I think that's the secret to their strength. Very even. They've got a height all around the field. And we just look at their players 6 foot and over. They've got a lot of players 6 foot and over, and the old saying is that tall players don't get any shorter the longer the game goes. And with Hagman off, that's a further blow to the Swans at this stage. I'm not sure if he's come back on, but they've got Phillips in the ruck for the Swans. He's up against the big fellow there, Runciman, for the Tigers. Phillips, actually Runciman's played a great game. He gets that knock. Phillips gets the ball though. Kicks it back. But number 12 for the Brooklyn Tigers, Devine. He's played a great game. Back there, centre half back.
I guess it's quite fitting him playing in the Christian League, being so divine. And he brings it forward now. Webb, a good punch out. It goes to Blake. He's really tried hard in this second half, but he really sold his teammate Nathan Smith into a bit of trouble there. That's going to be a ball up. Rogers tried to break free, but couldn't do so. And umpire Masters is called for the ball. It's been quite a joy seeing an umpire bounce the ball in our league. It hasn't happened for a few years. And he's done it with style and grace, and he's let me down. You could back it in. Every time you praise someone up, he does that. Paul Smith probably should have taken that mark, but he's tried very hard all day. Another great contest. That was like Crowe there. Very, very competitive effort from Crowe. Very keen off the bench there. Came off the bench and dived straight in for that contest. Cashman there, probably his first tap out for the season, and puts it straight over the line. They're just really winding down the clock.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's the pressure of the Tigers today. I just felt that they've added put a lot of pressure on the Swans, whereas the Swans, they just haven't applied enough pressure, I don't believe, on their Tiger opponents. And as you see, Best coming through now, typical of it, setting the example of pressure play, strong knock-on football by Adrian Best, their captain. And the ball was just held in there to Sutton by Wing. And Wing, he's tried his heart out, and really, I mean, he's been one of the better players on the ground today, but really there's a handful of Tiger guys in the same position today that have been just as good. As Paul Smith gets the ball, Simic pretty quiet by his own standards. He's been a good player this year, but he kicks it straight up in the air, puts Piasett under the pump. But Burke's got a chance, handball's out, unselfishly. But great cut off there by Brett Johnston. Cullen, Hubbard's got the ball, he's clear, he's got space, they're telling him. He kicks it long down to Sutton, can't mark that one. Rogers is there, number 18. Sutton tells him what's happening. He hooks it over the shoulder. Great shot for goal. But no, Richardson just knocks it through.
Couldn't do so. I think that's a goal.
No, he might have knocked it back in. It's a goal. Well, I thought the ball was over the line, but another opportunist goal to Andrew McLaren, and he's a very dangerous forward. You give him half a chance.
Yeah, actually, it's very nice to notice there that Paul Barber went up to Richardson there, the defender who made the mistake, put his arm around his shoulder and said, "Bad luck, mate, was always next year." And McLaren, well, how opportunistic is that? And he puts through his 4th. So as we make our way forward, we're moving into the 20-minute mark, entering into time on in the last quarter. And the Tigers to just go along the merry way. In fact, they've kicked the ton, 15-10-100. And we just pass over for final comments from Wayne Clark.
Oh, we're from Tigerland, the fighting fury, we're from Tigerland.
And that's why we asked him to leave the box.
Yes, notice he's a very impartial commentator, Wayne Clark, and he is a...
50
No.
metres against Woody there in the centre.
So there's a free kick there to Tigers. It's all one-way traffic at the moment, and it's disappointing the Swans have just lost the plot a little bit in the last 5 minutes, and I think they said the writing on the wall. But Phillips has been sent off. So it looks like a 250-metre penalty. He's really lost the plot. In fact, you can't even find the graveyard. One comment was quite a good comment from the peanut gallery down below. But there's a free kick in front of goal. Looks like Runciman, number 17, will just kick the easiest of goals, and he puts it out of the ground. And another goal to Brooklyn Tigers, and really they really deserved this victory today. And the Tiger guys are congratulating themselves down on the boundary line, and really they have been the best side. They've only lost the one match this season, coincidentally to the Central Coast Swans. And on that day they only had 16 players, so it's worth mentioning they started with 16, finished up with 17, so it's all credit. They really could have gone through the season undefeated, and I think that's something we forget about. There's been such a good combination this year.
Yeah, actually I was just noticing there that umpire Ray Masters has been struggling with the flu, sucking in the big ones. In fact, he looks like he's, yes, I think it's a knee injury. Well, this is something that we won't see every day. Looks like the umpire may have to come off. There is only, there'd only be barely minutes to go.
Is there an interchange for the umpire?
Yeah, it's me. I'm the interchange, but I'm not dressed, so we just have to do what they got.
Okay, well in the past we only needed one central, so maybe Bob for his last game might have to run the game out on his own. So let's hope that Ray can finish the game off. There shouldn't be too much longer in this grand final, although the Brooklyn Tigers have banged in on a few goals, so we could have a 25-minute quarter yet. And so really unfortunately the game's winding down to a close, and it's all over bar the shouting, with the Tigers leading 16-10, 106 to Central Coast 8-6-54.
Yeah, and the Swans now just trying something a bit different. Nathan Smith in the ruck, and he actually got the tap out. Russell's gone up to the forward line too. Oh, we've just clean bowled Bergie. And broad rib there. Oh, they're a miserly defence. They are so miserable, this crew. They wouldn't even give them a goal then.
It's just indicative of their game today, Swans. That just bounced past all those Swans guys, and who did it land? Right next to Adam Broadrib. So it's really, just making the point that, hey, it's not our day today, but it's certainly Brooklyn's day. They really showed the way. It really just proved then it's their day. As they get it out, great teamwork, great hands back in that back line there by Tigers. And Lionel Coates is all on his own. But he can't handle the ball. He can't get the hands on the ball. It's like a bar of soap for Lionel out there today. But he's only just come on in the last quarter. As the boys down here smiling up at the press box, up at the commentators here, the Tigers. Lionel off the ground. He gets the bronze cheer. Brian Cameron gets the ball on his left foot. Can he keep it in play? It's dangerous football here now. Could Matty Cashman waltzes into the open goal. Open goal. No, it hit the post. Whoa. Just as well the game's not close. Matty Cashman can't believe it. He's either kicked the ball, it's either hit the post first up, or Matty's hit the post on the kick. So nevertheless, it's a kick out to Barber. Barber kicks out to Richardson. Richardson's fumbling. Gets it somehow to... oh, no, he can't get it, Wood. Jason Sutton's there.
I think it's... Yep, as the Swans clear to be fitting time for me to sign off. I'd like to thank you for putting up with me in the commentary today, and I'll give you back to Bevan here, and he can do the final moments for you.
Yes, thanks, Jim. And yes, we're coming to the closing moments of this game as the Swans move forward. That's young Perkins. He kicks it long down to Pye Senton, but he's under the pack again. He's been caught out all day in that situation. Tigers have been strong coming over the back with Cullen, Broadrib, Devine, and as the ball comes out now, Hubbard, one of the best players on the ground, gets the ball out to Cullen, also a very good backman today. But no, you didn't quite handle that, Chris Cullen. Bad luck, Chris. He didn't quite get the hands on it properly. And out there great play, Steer again. He gets out there and knocks the ball out of bounds. So bad luck there for Perry. Big Chris Cullen come across and spoilt that one. So Matt Perry will try and make amends in the ruck. As Big Runciman comes in now to contest it with Simic actually. It's knocked forward by Simic. A chance here for Swans. Can they finish off with a goal or two? No. Might be rushed through by Burke. In fact, rushed through by Adam Broadrib. So we've been fortunate here today. The rain hasn't interfered with the proceedings here. It's fortunately it's held off for the crowd and the players, and it's been a fairly high standard. Fairly scrappy early on, but I think the game has really picked up in the last, especially the last three quarters. As the Swans pick the ball forward, kick it up forward, number 37, I think that's Perry, but he kicks it out of bounds on the full. I'll just hand over to Wayne Clark, the president again. He just wants to mention something on behalf of the Tigers.
Yeah, I just want to say this is going to be Bestie's last game. He mentioned it in the change rooms at the start of the game. I think that's given the incentive, and I think when we bring this baby home, I think Bestie's going to knock back a few flies from his eyes, because it's going to be a very emotional time for him.
Yes, well, with Adrian's situation, he hurt his shoulder in the second semi, and I think a lot of people, including me, thought that he probably wouldn't come up to the grand final, but it's been a pretty courageous effort to lead the boys out there, and I think that his contribution has certainly been enough. Well, he set the example, diving under packs, and just setting the tone for his tackling and his aggressive play. As the ball moves forward now, and really we're playing our time now, but umpire Masters has called a throwing decision. It's against Tigers, against Hubbard, and it looks like the captain. No, it won't be. I think it's young Perkins, is it, for Swans? He kicks the ball up to Simic. Simic tries at one hand, not good enough. Russell's down on the forward line for a try. Simic, he weaves around a couple of players, but it's too late. The siren's gone, and it's the grand final of the Brooklyn Tigers. They've won the third on the trot, 3 in a row to Brooklyn, and they've proved that they've been a real force in this league for the last 6 or 7 years. They won it in 1990, 91, and now 95, 96 and 97. They've taken it off, so they've equalled Boat Harbour's record of 3 straight flags, and they'll no doubt be trying for their 4th in a row next year. But congratulations to Brooklyn Tigers, commiserations to Central Coast Swans, who were gallant losers, but really the second half really would belong to the Tigers. They were just too good. They're tall players, their overall strength around the ground. I believe their tackling was a big factor all day. They set the tone for that. They set the pace with their tackling, and I think the Swans were just weren't allowed to get their run-on game going. They weren't allowed to get the ball down quickly to Travis Burke, and I just believe that it was the Tigers all-round strength, not relying on 1 or 2 players. And Adrian Best out there, he said it's his last game, so I wonder if it really is his last game. And so, so we're just handing over now to the presentations out in the middle. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to pick up the audio out there, but just congratulations and to Tigers again. Commiserations to Central Coast. They've had a great year. And I notice Adrian Best going over to shake hands now with Simon Wood and their coach Tubby Cock. And Cox, he must know how difficult it is to win a grand final. He was part of the losing side. He was playing there in 1995 for Swans. This year he's been non-playing coach, and unfortunately they weren't quite good enough on the day. They weren't quite good enough to win the game. But all credit to Tigers, as you can hear the song over the microphone. And Adrian Best is up on the shoulders of the players, and so he should be. He's been a good leader for the Tigers this year, and all credit to them. And as we speak, the Tigers are giving 3 cheers to the Swans. So it's, I think it's just all credit to, they respect the opposition, and they're very despondent crew, the Swans. But I'm really sure they'll be pleased with their season, the way they've come back early in the season. They looked a pretty ordinary side there when they lost their coach at the start of the season, and all credit they fought back to come to this to get to the grand final. I think most people early in the season probably thought it was between Brooklyn Tigers and Eastside Bombers, so all credit to the Swans that they've fought their way back, worked their way into the grand final the hard way. And it's been a great effort by Tigers, great effort by Swans, but really the Tigers deserve it. And sing the theme song out there, you might be able to hear it. And so the final scores again, they've taken it down, but I believe it was 16-10, 106 to 8-6-54. I think that's the final score, and that's, as you can see by that scoreboard, it's nearly double the score. And so Brooklyn Tigers 3 in a row, and they're a very strong club, and they are the pace setter. Jim, you've been out in the middle. I don't know whether you could pick up the Tigers theme song on the audio there, but they're certainly a very happy crew out there. Even though it's 3rd in a row, they're pretty happy about it.
Oh yes, I think there's always a nice blend of new players coming in every year, and I think that's a very a very fitting thing, perhaps, for it's been quite an era for the Brooklyn Tigers. I'm a bit puffed there. I don't do much running these days, but I think it's great. I think it's ex-Tiger player, both of us commentators actually, and so it sort of touches at our hearts, both of us, that they can come back and win another one. I honestly thought myself that it was beyond them, but they proved me wrong, and I'm a real kiss of death when it comes to grand finals. So once again, we congratulate Adrian Best and his boys. They've done a marvellous job, and it's nice to see my old number 5 jumper getting so many kicks these days. Never got many when I wore it.
I think you've been a bit hard on yourself there, Jim. Yeah, so we've come to the presentation time of the match, and the Tigers are starting to get a bit used to this now as Wayne Clark, the president, moves on down. We've had a bit of a talk to Wayne. We got him up here towards the end because it was obvious that the Tigers were going to win. And so Wayne's making his way down there now, and a very happy Lionel Coates. He was out there when the sign went. Chris Cullen, he's pretty pleased. I don't know whether he's been in a grand final or not before, winning grand final side, but he's pretty pleased about it. Terry Cashman, he's been there when the Tigers have won the 3 in a row. Yep. And so really, you know, all credit to them. And as they move over to make the presentation, we'll be back shortly to go through the players as they present them with their medals. Okay, we've come to the presentation time now as the players are awarded their medals. President Paula Lickman is handing over the trophy to Tracy Harvey, boundary umpire for the grand final. There's a 50-game trophy to Matthew Cashman. So well done, Matthew, on the grand final. It's 50 games in the Northwest Christian Amateur Football League. So well done, Matthew. Also the captain today. So a proud moment for him. So there'll be all celebrations in the Tigers' den tonight with their annual dinner and best and fairest count. And so we're coming to the point now where we'll hand out the medallions to each player that participated for the winning team, the Brooklyn Tigers. And the goal of the day has gone to John Del Perro. No doubt that one off the ground. I think it was in the first quarter. Great goal. And that really got him going for the day. He kicked 6, and he was the most effective forward easily on the ground today, and very close to best on ground. But he's been given the mark of the goal of the day. So he's been a tower of strength for them up forward for a number of years now. And the mark of the day goes to Mark Hubbard. So it more or less highlights the strength and the height of this Tiger team. They've really got a lot of tall players, and it all goes well when it comes to a grand final. And so Mark Hubbard, another man very close to best on ground, number 8, he gets the award for the mark of the day. And now the awards to the goal umpire in the grand final today. One of the goal umpires, Dale Highland. Dale, a former player of Brooklyn Tigers, premiership winner there, and so he'd be proud to be officiating today. So he gets a medal as well. We'd be pretty pleased about that. And of course, the other goal umpire, he'd be pretty pleased about that too. And also a medal for the other boundary umpire, Andrews. Can't quite catch the Christian name. The microphone out the middle is not very clear. And Tracy gets another award. So maybe the first one was for the best performed boundary umpire this year. This one is for boundary umpire in the grand final, I imagine. So well done, Tracy. Award number 2. And here's Bob Ferguson, a man who has been with the league from the inception, 10 years, 1987 when the league started, and Bob very proud man, umpiring his final game and in the grand final as well. So well done, Bob Ferguson. And also to Ray Masters. Great exhibition of umpiring, I think, today by both umpires, and well done there. And I really feel that both teams would be pretty pleased with umpiring. And just on Bob, Bob's been has really served the league in a great capacity in many ways, as coach, even as a player early on, but really as umpire and a treasurer, he's been of great value to the league. And well done, Bob. And no doubt we'll see him in the future in the league, no doubt at games and watching the game from the sidelines. Now here's the player medallions, young Crow. I think it's Scotty Crow. Number 3, Craig Short for the Brooklyn Tigers. Did some useful things today. In fact, I think every Tiger really earned their pay today. Brian Cameron, former captain, quite happy to be in the background as vice captain or as a club official, but very, very much an important player in their squad too. As Brian throws his medallion away accidentally. Well done, Brian. Played another good game today, Brian. Not a standout player. As Jamie McMichael comes up to get his medallion. In the first half he was probably best on ground, but he played a very, very good game as well. Andrew Morton played a fairly useful game as well. Andrew Morton collects his medallion. Mark Hubbard, probably one of 2 or 3 better players on the ground today. Number 10, David Dilger, came into the game in the second half, did some useful things. So the Tigers are pretty happy. Number 12, Paul Devine, been a great player in the finals, played a great game, best on ground probably in the second semi-final win, and today very useful player at centre half back. And Jason Sutton, centre half forward, very difficult position to play today. He was close to best on ground. There's 3 or 4 guys you could have picked from today as best on ground, and Jason Sutton would certainly be there. Strong player, Jason. Tony Stewart comes forward, and he very serviceable game. Didn't get a lot of the play because the ball wasn't down there to any great extent, but well done, Tony. And Elliot Rogers for the Tigers, another of their tall players. Another guy, another fellow they can throw into the ruck if they need, or centre half back, centre half forward. Very flexible, very tall team. And big Adrian Connell, another tall player. He did some useful things. Come off the interchange a couple of times, and he's pretty pleased as well. Big bandage on his knee. Big fellow, Gringo they call him. Big David Runciman. I thought he played quite a good game actually. This fellow, I thought he took over in the ruck. Took over in a very important role in that game. So he was another guy that was close to best on ground. And here's another guy for the Tigers that very useful utility. Chopper Johnson, Brett Johnson, and Adam Broadrib did some very good things in the back line. Very desperate player, and I thought he played a good, at least in the first half, played a great game. And he also came in the game in the second half. And here's Lionel, gets the roars of the crowd, the hands up. Lionel got a run in the last quarter, and yeah, he'd be savouring this moment. Well done, Lionel. Number 26, another very tall player for the Tigers. They've got a real luxury of tall players. Big Chris Cullen, number 26, very solid back there. His game today was a key one as well. Cut off Travis Burke. Travis Burke had kicked 15 goals in 2 games, and Chris Cullen kept him down, I think, 1 major. So very, very important contribution. And John Del Perro kicked 6. Probably the difference between the 2 sides when it's all boiled down today. And another one that you could have picked for best on ground. Andrew McLaren, he got the Tigers on their way, kicked 3, I think it was 3 first quarter goals, and his play in that first quarter particularly really set the Tigers on their way, and I think his contribution was very important for in the overall scheme of things. And Dwayne Cashman holding his young one, little child, comes out with to receive his award. And limping, he got a leg injury early in the game, and he's putting the medallion around the little one's head. So nice touch there by Dwayne. And so the Tigers are pretty happy. But we mustn't forget the Swans. They're looking on here, but I think that they really fought out for 3 quarters and just fell away in the last quarter. But well done, Swans. And there's their coach, Donald Cox. No doubt very disappointed, but I think he'd be pleased with the year. Their coach was just saying that they fought it out well. They've had a good year, and he felt the Tigers were just too good on the day. And so there's the captain coming across now to receive the cup, Matthew Cashman, the winning captain. And the coach, Adrian Best, comes over. That a very proud moment for Adrian. His last year, he said, so it's great to see him finish on a high note. And so the captain, Dwayne Cashman, and Adrian Best, the coach. Be just to see if Adrian makes a speech. Be hard to pick it up from here, but yes, Adrian thanks the Swans for their great effort, and just mentioned they were just not quite good enough on the day, and he thanked his guys for the year, which is always important as a coach to get the support of your players, and really he got that today, and in fact he got it all season. They really responded to his coaching. So the best player in the grand final coming up. And John Del Perro has been given best on ground with his 6 goals. Probably a very close one, that one. A number of players, Hubbard, Del Perro, and he gets a kiss from Big Mal Metcalf's wife, Jenny, for the Mal Metcalf Award for the best on ground in the NWC AFL Grand Final. So well done to John Del Perro. As Big David Runciman holds up the cup for the Tigers. So we sign off now in the grand final. We might get a lap with the boys, but it's been a good season, a very close season. Right through the season, the Brooklyn Tigers have been on either top position or second, and they've only lost the 1 game, so they're very deserved winners. As we can hear the club song coming out now.